Welcome back to OtakuDaiKun. It's time to continue on with Higurashi no Naku Koro ni When They Cry, Chapter 2, Wataganashi-hen, the second arc. Welcome, welcome. Evening Dai, how are we? We are doing pretty damn good. Pretty good. I am happily rendering out the final touches, of Orion's lore. Orion / Artemis, they're kind of inseparable, honestly. Now, let's see here. Video opening might contain minor spoilers. Do you want to enable it anyway? Dude, yeah. Manga gamer. Yee-hoo! The new villains are Testament also. Hello there, what? Do you own a legal... How do you own one? You don't own a legal... You don't own a person. How does that work? That makes no sense. I don't have any save... Okay, yeah. We're just starting off fresh. Let me check the volume. Let me know if you need the volume turned up, down... Whatever you need. Is Orion based on the Orion's Belt constellation? Yeah. That is correct. Yep. When Orion is killed, he has his body sublimated into the stars as the constellation of Orion. And his belt is just those 3 stars. 1 month until Xenoblade 3. Really hope new villains are testaments from Xenosaga. Oh, interesting. I don't care what the hell they are. The game looks amazing. But to start. It should be good. It's based on what it was last set to. Cotton Drifting Chapter. How was your taste of life in Hinamizawa? A curse or a conspiracy? I believe you have fully enjoyed everything and everyone. Seeming suspicious, I gotcha. Here at last, it's no surprise attack, but a real, direct incident. Please enjoy it. The difficulty is lower than the Onikakushi, but extremely vicious. There is no difficulty. There is no choice. You just read it. Silly game. That was weird. Yeah. I don't need to hear children crying when they cry. Why? I've decided to reshape the window a little bit. I will not quench your thirst, for you seek truth and could not accept that. I will not quench your thirst, for the truth you desire does not exist. But I still want you to quench your thirst, for I am the one who cast you into the desert. What a dick. This is a work of fiction. Yeah, duh. Hudderpity-derp-a-der. 1983, the early summer of 58th year of the Showa era. Huh. Sorry, I can't play those. I can't play those! Do you have Xenoblade 3? It's not out yet, but I did get a pre-order in for the special edition. After much, much suffering and agony and... yeah. The book has difficulty. Run away! Have you played AI Somnium Files? I've heard very, very good things about it. From what I've heard about the localization, there's a lot of people getting all pissy about the game for having LGBT values and stuff like that. But in truth, it's not necessarily bad localization because those themes are presented in the story itself. Like if you look at the Japanese version, and I have seen a clip, at least of the first game, that shows them specifically calling out LGBT and, you know, praising them and stuff like that from the characters, and you can tell that's what they're saying in Japanese. Always look forward to streams. I hope you and Ari-chan are well. We are doing very well, yes. Maybe the reading difficulty level changes. I don't know why that would be. The anniversary panel is going on right now at Anime Expo. Aww. I kind of wish I could go to Anime Expo, but I'm also kind of pissed that it gets all the love. There are no other conventions in the entire country that get that same degree of attention, where they show off official corporate stuff. You know, I guess it makes sense when you're in a, you know, everyone lives in California when they do the business stuff. But thoughts on scalping? I think scalpers need to be scalped. You hate the LGBT label. Why? It's tragic that people are bashing on Xenoblade 3 outside of what happened with the special edition issues. Yeah, no. I mean, the special edition thing has nothing to do with Monolith Soft. It has everything to do with Nintendo and their really, really shitty PR. Completely different thing, you know? But no, the game itself looks absolutely amazing. I am so excited. I think people are used to forced diversity, so they assume any localized product is diverse, anything has changed. Well, you could normally assume that, but no. And that's one of the things that's really difficult to let people know, is that we don't have an issue with gay, trans, lesbian, whatever's in our products of media from Japan, as long as the Japanese thought of it, not some Westerner who's trying to co-opt the intention to put their own words in. The chirping of birds served as my alarm clock. Noise. Huh? Wasn't today Sunday? Wasn't it basically my style to stay up late on Saturday and sleep through the morning on Sunday? Why was I waking up at this disgustingly wholesome hour? Back to sleep, back to sleep. Hello, hello. Just wanted to stop by and said your voice is super nice to listen to in your videos. Thank you. Are you excited for Fate Fest at Anime Expo 2022? I can't get too excited about something I can't attend, unfortunately. I would like to, I guess, but to me it just seems like it's unfair that all that cool stuff's happening at Anime Expo, but yeah. At least you get conventions in the States, I think, oh, fair enough. Has its Insomnia Game Festival in Scotland and E3, yeah. Monolith even fixed the mouth flap issues for English version of Xenoblade 3. I mean, I don't necessarily think I would call them issues, but yeah, it shows extra care and love that they would put in the lip flap changes for either language. Because deshumanize them and make their sexuality a marketing tool and not a sexuality. Well, that's not necessarily what all LGBT is, but yeah, there are definitely companies that try to get money off of that representation. Exactly, that's when we were okay with gay characters in anime, but not with them. Marvel changes characters like Iceman from straight to gay. Yeah. Yeah. Though we do have, what is it, a new panty and stocking with garter belt or whatever. That looks like it could be very fun. At that moment, the sound of my mother calling me from downstairs finally registered. Phone call? What? I sprang up out of bed abruptly and stamped noisily down the stairs. He's awake. I'll put him on right now, my mother informed the person on the other end of the line.
もしもし、俺、どちら様?
Hey. Good to know you're not killing me now.
こんな朝っぱらから何の用だよ?
I like how you're telling me I need either Jesus or Allah. That's pretty progressive of you to include more than just Christ. No, but Iceman's sexuality has never been straight unless you're going to live with Action X-Men. Oh. I don't know enough about Iceman, honestly. It was 11 o'clock. I guess you could loosely consider that the middle of the day. That's like my morning. That's early morning for me.
ついでに中国語とドイツ語とロシア語でも言ってみろ。
ニーハオケイちゃん。
Ni
グ
hao.
ーテンモルゲンケイちゃん。ロシア語ラズビダーニャ。知るわけないでしょ。
Mion is my favorite.
まあいいや。
You did not miss much of the stream. No, we're just starting off the new route.
バカな話してたら目が覚めた。
そりゃ結構なことで。でさ、ケイちゃん今日暇？ケイちゃんが大丈夫なら全員揃うんだけどな。
Everybody. Did she mean all the club
そ
members?
うだよ。まあ普段の激戦を思えば
You didn't miss nothing.
なんて思ってるかもしれないけど。そりゃ甘いよケイちゃん。
へいへい。あらゆる環境に対応して最善手を模索するのが我が部の趣旨だもんな。つまり休日だろうとお構いなしってわけだ。
おお、ケイちゃんも我が部の
Yeah, after the stream, I gotta play some more Fire Emblem, and I gotta, what's it call it? Watch some of the new anime that are starting to come out. You got more Rental Girlfriend, dropping. It's crazy, because certain shows of the last season haven't quite finished up yet, like Shikimori-san. And then we've got, other shows, just starting up. I'm like, dang it, this is so confusing. Finally have my food, ready to enjoy. Very wholesome VN. Yes, very wholesome VN. Fate Lord Man himself talking on with us. Adventure, wholesomeness, and whimsy. Awesome. Nothing bad ever happens here. Nothing to see here. Also, if I am silent for about a few minutes, I am busy on a project. Oh yeah, fine. Do what you need. What servants do you think the Higurashi cast would summon based on their personality? I feel like Mion could be an archer. Rana, saber. Rika. Maybe like Foreigner. As strange as that is. What the fuck is Higurashi Sotsu? It is a sequel, actually. Technically, Higurashi Sotsu is a distant sequel to all of the stuff that came in the Higurashi franchise prior to this, or prior to it. It starts off looking like a reboot, but it's actually a sequel. In disguise. You need to watch Science Fell in Love Die. It's actually fairly good. That anime about, yeah, that one I think I saw a little bit of. Yeah, lunch an hour ago. Noodles with veggies, yum. Avenger Rika. You could say Avenger Rika. Satoko Berserker. Easily Berserker. Oh, yeah, enough about the Ice. Well, I mean, you guys can talk about Iceman, but I won't comment on him. I don't know nothing about Iceman. Except that he was in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I had absolutely nothing planned that day. If I were to refuse Club President Mion's invitation, what other fun ways to pass the time would I have?
別に予定なんかねえし。
Is Higurashi Sotsu good? Alright, I don't know. Is it Rei and Sotsu? Those are the two seasons. They're kind of all big one chunk sequel. I liked what Higurashi started to do with its story at that point, but by the way that it ended, I was like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. It got it changed the tone and theme of what Higurashi was all about to me, which is kind of the grounded horror aspects, and it went to being like ridiculous fantasy, like meta commentary, weird craziness. Yeah, I didn't like that.
嫌だって言ったら不先輩扱いでどんな罰ゲームを課せられるやら。
そこまで分かってるなら断れないよね。もし OK ならいつもの待ち合わせ場所に1時集合。街へ行くから自転車で来てね。
Club activities in town. Well, we could do them anywhere. Basically, Sotsu is the most toxic friendship in all of anime, in my opinion. You can't really call it a friendship anymore, in my opinion. I always wanted a proper Higurashi and Fate crossover as a Grail War, yeah. That would be interesting. You hated the art style of Sotsu? I thought it was okay. You want a Persona-like Higurashi game? I mean, it's always fun to run around and talk to people as opposed to just reading a visual novel. Besides, since it was the new venue, there's no way this wasn't going to be intense.
私、一昨日の惜敗、かなり根に持ってるからね。今日ははっきり言って負けないよ。
A couple of days ago was Friday's club activities. That uncompromising poker match. It was a fight to the death. Nobody held back. Nobody could tell who was in the lead or who was last until all the points were tallied. In the end, I won by only one chip. Mion came in second. Damn it! To think if I hadn't squandered that one chip. Mion lamented thus, perhaps more so than the fact that she lost the match. Mion didn't lose. That's why Mion only whined when she let the champion's throne slip through her fingers. Interesting. Yeah, I can only get so excited about gacha stuff. Are you going to stream your Castoria rolls? I don't know, man. Maybe. If you guys really want me to do that. I don't know when Castoria is gonna pop through. Or if there's any sort of event tied to her coming out. You'd have to watch Sotsu to really see, like, why they did what they did. It was an interesting direction, but I just don't think it felt right. That's why she was more frustrated than anybody over a close loss. So, did she mean for today to be a grudge match? She should be out after maintenance tonight? I didn't know it was that soon. In which case I probably won't stream that. After that, we exchanged jeers for a bit before hanging up the phone. You know, maybe I will. We'll see what happens. As I headed back upstairs hastily to get the key to my bike, I bumped into my mother as she was carrying a futon down. Hey Connor, maintenance for the 5th Annie is at 1900 BSD for the 3rd, so I assume you know what that is for you. I mean, it's always super late at night for me, so maybe 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I don't know. I'll take a look. 12 hours from now? Yeah, that's a pretty good estimate from what I just said. And even when the maintenance is done, especially knowing that it's going to be Castoria, people are going to be flocking to that. I'll just be sitting there refreshing the connection error page for a while. After unlocking the chain from my bike in the garage, I reveled a bit in the resistance the slightly stiff pedal gave as I pushed on it. Alright, let's go! I set off on my bike, cutting through the refreshing morning air. Oh, I see. If I remember correctly, Satoko and Rika-chan's houses were on the other side past the school.
みんなで覆面をして日が暮れるまでにいくつ銀行が襲えるかっていうの。
別にそれでもいいけど。
Robbing
それでも
banks?
私は負けないけどね。
Oh my god. She's brutal.
ちゃんってね、なぜか現金輸送車の順路とか時間とかをいつもレナに教えてくれるんだよ。
Mion, are you that bored?
なんでだろうね、なんでだろうね。
What? I spun around with a serious look on my face and looked at Mion. Well, it certainly seemed possible that Mion was capable of doing that.
マジかよ、ミオン。
Why isn't it drawn in the original art by Ryukishi? Because I don't like that art style. This is from the console release, the art here. Was it R that switched
マ
it?
ジかよ、ミオン。マジかよ、ミオン。
Oh, that's repeat. I don't remember what button I'm supposed to hit.
レーナーまだ何言ってんの。
みーちゃんごめんね。
Making her look like a bad guy, a scoundrel. The two of them joked around. That bright laughter was the best match for a beautiful day like today.
おい、二人とも。サトコとリカちゃんが先に待ってるんだろ。じゃれてないで早く行こうぜ。
Around and around, fooling about like the two fluttering butterflies, I earnestly wished I could just keep watching them like this. But the five of us together would be absolutely more fun.
そうだね。じゃあ行こっか。
目標は10億強奪。
Have you played any Persona games? Yeah. I've played Persona 5 a little bit on stream here. And yeah, I've never actually beat Persona 3, strangely enough. Though, of course, I have beaten Persona 4 3 times, I believe. And then on my playthrough for Golden, that's when the damn save data got corrupted. Those bastards!
山分けしたらみんなで高飛びだぜ。
The three of us on our bikes headed over the gently sloping hill towards town. Accelerating hard, we crested the hill. The view expanded as Okonomiya Station came into sight. Okonomiya? Okinomiya. I occasionally come to the station here. Considering the amount of effort it takes to get here, though, it was quite a hassle. As a teenager, Rena was your favorite girl, but now you like Mion? Oh, yeah. There are 3 variations. I guess there's the original, there is the console, and then there's the remastered, but I don't like the remastered ones. That's why I didn't know much about the area around the station, or Okinomiya itself for that matter. The street we were headed down today was, of course, unfamiliar to me as well. Going through the railway crossing, we headed past the south end of the station.
こっち側は来るの初めてだな。
こっちにはね、ゲームセンターとかおもちゃ屋さんとかがいろいろあるの。みーちゃんが詳しいよ。
ゲーセンもあるのか。
Video game arcades.
俺
Yoo-hoo.
前は結構通ってたからな。ゲーマーの血がうずくぜ。
ゲーセン通いなんてケイちゃん不良だね。今度来た時に案内してあげるよ。結構台数を揃えたいい店があるから。
It seemed like the town of Okinomiya was Mion's stomping grounds. If I asked her, she could tell me a lot of things about it. Eventually, we came across a store with quite a few bikes parked in front of it. Was this the arcade? No, it was a smaller shop. Looking at the window display, it seemed like your everyday toy shop. But for almost 10 kids to be filing in and out of the store, they were doing almost too well for themselves.
ひょっとしてあの店で今日何かイベントでもあるのか。
その通り。優勝賞金は5万円。
Ugh.
5万円？なんだよそれ。慶一王国の5年分の GNP に匹敵するぞ。
Two cute figures messing about in the front of the store noticed us and waved their hands. No, they don't blink.
おはようございますなのです。
おはようリカちゃん。さあとこ、警察が来る前にケリをつけるぞ。
We'll settle this before the cops get here.
目標は10億強奪だ。
ケイチさんの話がわかりませんわ。
Who has the most kills out of the main group? Shoot, I never thought of it like that. I mean, by the end of Sotsu, it's most definitely Satoko, but I don't know. I haven't, like, that'll be fun for someone to tally up, I guess.
遅くなったかな。リカちゃんたちは今来たの？
Yeah, mental image of these three sprites on top of JPEGs and bikes as if riding the bikes. It's quite the sight, huh?
今日は早く終わったのでだいぶ待ってましたですよ。
I'm playing the PC version with the mod, actually.
そりゃあ悪いことしたわ。こっちはケイちゃんがなかなか来なくてさ。
ケイチでは仕方ありませんですよ。
Saying that, Rika-chan stretched up and began patting Mion's head. Hey, wait a minute. Are you solving everything by making me the bad guy?
もちろんケイチさんでなくては務まらない大役でしたよ。
実に嫌な大役だな。こんなので丸く収まると思ったら大間違いだぞ。
I was feeling slightly irritated, so I began to repeatedly smack Satoko on the head. Smack, 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 smack.
ケイチさんがぶったー。
You whiny
ケイチ
baby.
にいじめられてかわいそうかわいそうですよ。さとこちゃん泣いてる泣いてる。
You find her cute like that?
お持ち帰り。
It's so weird.
この人はレナお姉ちゃんがやっつけてあげるからね。
Wham! Rena ecstatically wiped the tears, which were probably fake, from Satoko's face, while Rika-chan gently patted mine as I lay sprawled on the ground. Yes, this is fine.
やっぱりこれが正しい丸い収め方だよな。
前歯が欠ける前に新しいオチを探した方がいいと思うけどね。
Well then, upsy daisy. In any case, the greeting for today went well. Inside the toy shop, there were about 10 boys around the same age as me. Apparently, they all knew Mion, and finding out that she had arrived, they greeted her with jeers, a few at a time.
みーちゃんはこのおもちゃ屋さんの常連なの。だから友達もすっごく多いの。
おもちゃ屋の常連って何なんだ？
Yeah, I like black, red, and purple. Those are my favorite colors.
ほらケイチさん、奥をご覧なさいませ。
Following Satoko's prompting, I took a look. There were chairs lined up at tables, almost like some sort of birthday party. I realized it immediately.
まさかこれって部活の会場なのか？
Replace Keiichi with Mike Tyson? Why? Why?
驚いたかい、ケイちゃん。
You think he'd be heading to school with all these
この
kids?
店のおじさんと仲良しでね。たまに客寄せイベントってことでゲーム大会を開かせてもらってるんだよ。
If CCC got a remake, what do you think it would look like or stay or be removed? I don't know. I would like it to be in the same vein of Fate Extra Record, assuming we ever get that game. Expand his customer base, I see. Meaning all the boys lining up the place were participants?
そうなの。いつもは5人だけど、今日はもっともっと大勢での部活なんだよ。
Reina was innocently happy about being able to play with so many people, but my expression grew noticeably stern.
ケイチさんの考えてること、手に取るように分かりましたよ。
ほう、じゃあ試しに行ってみようか。言うぞ。せーの。
They're all enemies! Satoko's voice and mine blended together in harmony. Heaven's Hole would definitely be removed. I'd like them to fight for it and advocate for it. And release it on a console, even if PlayStation doesn't want them to do that, for them to find a way to do it anyway. Because that would be lame. Because CCC was cool. But yeah, I would almost guarantee that Sony would have a fit with their new policy regarding CCC now. We looked over at the participants. After all, the top prize was 50,000 yen. My eyes lit up like a flame.
ね、ケイちゃん。今日は楽しめそうでしょ。
まあな、ライバルが何人増えようが狙うものに変わりはないさ。
Wasn't somebody working on a patch recently that would translate all of extra CCC? If they do that, I wonder if I should try streaming it. I don't think there'd be much of a copyright issue at this point.
ライバル？はあ、ケイちゃん。クジラが水を飲むとき、今飲んだ水の中に何匹シラスが混じっていたか、いちいち数えてると思う？
She said that in an unpleasant voice, laughing with the aggressive glint in her eyes reserved solely for club activities. Damn it, Mion. She's as serious as she can get today.
本気なのは私だけじゃないよ。ほら、
Persona 4 Golden.
リカちゃんを
Nice.
見てごらんよ。
Gilgamesh and Kiara, I think the cutscene needs changed. I don't think anything really needs changing. Mion pointed. Looking at where her fingers directed me.
なんだありゃ。
Well, if that patch gets completed and you don't see me talking about it, I probably didn't notice, so ping me with stuff like that. Find me on my Discord and ping me, or send me a tweet, or a private message, or any of that stuff. I love being in the know, and it's surprising how few, like, I get pinged for all sorts of silly reasons, but not things like, hey, check out this new game that got announced, and that's what's more important to me. Rika-chan was using those kinds of traits to soften up the group with an almost excessive pleasantness.
僕も頑張るのですよ。ファイト、王なのです。
Completely emasculated, the group joined Rika-chan in a cheer. The inside of the store had been consumed by the world of Rika-chan. Damn, she's already chomping at the bit.
今日は楽しくなりそうだね。頑張るよ。はう。
Hello! It seemed that Reina was also unusually fired up by the large crowd. Hopping about and running around, she had entered entirely into cute mode. In Rena's case, the real fun starts when her tension gauge fills up. Her happy-go-lucky attitude belied the fact that this was the state in which she was the most threatening. Mion was making small talk with some of the regular customers she was acquainted with. It was like business as usual with her. Of course, if anybody thought that Mion looked ordinary, they were not qualified to be in our club. The shadow beneath her feet was exuding killer instinct, rising up like a chill wind.
ミヨンめ、恥も外文も捨てるくらいに本気だな。
I don't even remember what the CCC opening song is.
ケイチさん知らないんですの？賞金の5万円、ミオンさんの自腹でしたよ。
Oh shit. What? She was putting out the 50,000 yen all by herself? At that moment, a dark miasma that warped Mion's surroundings began to appear.
ん？何？ケイちゃん。私の顔に何かついてる？
A shiver crept up my spine. That Mion, courting herself like that, she was pulling out the demon lurking within her. Fine with me. Damn it, my knees are shaking like crazy. Before I realized it, the store had filled up with even more people. However, the looks in their eyes weren't confrontational. They were looks of expectation and curiosity. They were the eyes of onlookers who were wondering what kind of match was going to occur, and who was going to win. That bad lucky day you had. What if you did get the game from Nintendo? You want to? Oh well, okay. I posted an update. I swear I did, clarifying that in fact I did eventually wind up getting that special edition pre-order. After I had lost all hope. I didn't give up, but yeah, no, it came through, and I did get a pre-order. Nintendo is still absolutely in the wrong for having let that be such a nightmare, and they didn't handle it well. They still haven't tweeted a single thing about it since that day, not in a single bit of apology for the chaos that ensued. So screw them, but I did update. I did finally get it. I'm probably going to delete that post now. Can you understand Japanese? Some Japanese. Aside from Yukado, it's my second favorite. Extella, Ope is third. I only have 3 favorites. Gotcha.
面白くなってきやがったぜ。
ケイチ君。頑張ろうね。Reina was already fully charged. Mortal laws and common sense held no power before the might of Reina in her cute mode. I didn't want to fight her if possible. Kankoli related stuff when he found the Safe for Work Dojin, a crossover between Kankoli and the Japanese version of G1 Transformers. How strange. Rika-chan, who was exuding way too much charm no matter how you looked at it, had already won over most of the onlookers to her side. Nonchalantly avoiding things had always been Rika-chan's creed, but for her to be blatantly laying out her machinations like this, something was definitely strange. Like Reina, she was somebody who I didn't want to fight if I could help it.
もちろん一番戦いたくないのはミオンさんですけどね。
何度か部活で奴と視線をくぐったが、今日ほどヤバいと思う日はないぜ。
ミオンさん、一昨日のポーカーで負けたの相当根に持ってるみたいでしたよ。
らしいな。つまり今日はミオンの復讐のための特設部隊ってわけだ。
Almost as though she were psychic, Mion turned toward us. Her eyes silently conveyed the message. You guys just figured that out now? It wasn't just Mion. Both Reina and Rika-chan were more pumped than they'd ever been. Yeah. One's gonna pop up today. Without a doubt, there'll be casualties.
私とケイチさんがなんとなく置いてきぼりですわね。いかがでございましょう。なんでしたらスマートに初戦をお手合わせ願えませんかしら。
そうしよっか。俺もエンジンがかかるまで鳴らしをし。
My spinal column shuddered like it had been struck by a bolt of lightning, and like a pillar of ice was being jammed into it, began to freeze. I could almost see the flames backlighting Satoko with their intensity. Strange seeing both Optimus and Kongo having tea, yeah. Even then, while Satoko was displaying a normal smile, it was cold and inhuman, almost as if it were a plastic mask.
そんなに俺を初戦で消したいかよ。
Also, what if you did not get the game and you had to get the game from those people that... No, I would not have bought it from scalpers. I was not going to do that. If I were, my next option would have been to see if my brother, who's in Japan, were able to find a copy of it used in special edition or whatever. For all I know, the Japanese get a better special edition than we do. And then I would just buy the ordinary game, from any other retailer. But no, I'm not gonna support scalpers. Fuck that. What's your favorite anime opening outside of Fate series opes? Oh gosh. Oh, I have so many that I really, really like. I don't know if there's one that I like more than all the others in that regard. I love the first opening to Dirty Pair Flash, very much so. The song is called Kagirinai Answer. I mean, of course there's Brave Shine, but you said no Fate. The Demon Slayer openings are pretty dope. What are the races in Japanese anime? What do you mean, like, what race are the characters? I mean, by default, you'd expect most of them to be Japanese, but that's certainly not always the case. Death Parade's opening is pretty cool. I love the opening to Amagi Brilliant Park. The second opening for Clannad, Kimi dake wo, kimi dake wo. I love that one. I mean, there's tons. I could just gush about them.
さっきが隠せてないぜ。
あら残念ですわね。ケイチさんにしてはなかなか慎重でしたよ。
Without a doubt, it was a trap. I don't know what she had up her sleeve, but if I fought with Satoko during the opening round, my loss would be more certain than if I had went against Mion. A pitch-black miasma permeated the inside of the store. Did they all want to win that 50,000 yen prize that much? No, that's not right. The only ones competing for the prize money were the casual participants. I was different. I had mistaken this as just a way to fool around on a normal Sunday. It didn't matter when it was, or where it was, or who our opponents were. In our club, the goal is always the very top of the mountain. An intense flame that no strong winds could extinguish, hot enough to melt any steel, began to burn inside me. The fuse had been lit on this unprecedentedly intense club battle. It was then that the owner of the store told Mion in a lackadaisical voice that it was about time to begin. Mion began with the formalities, standing in for the owner, and explained that the rules of today's tournament... Oh, she explained them. You're only playing to win. There is no second or third place. That's the same rule as our club. There were 15 people participating. We were to split up into 5 groups via a draw, and each group would have to one winner. Each winner in the first stage would advance to the next in order to compete in the final.
さて、各卓の競技方法なんだけど、これは各卓で好きに決めていいよ。このお店にあるゲームなら何を使っても OK。
Already in club mode DEFCON 1, I didn't let the small gap in the rules go unnoticed.
ミオン、質問いいか。みんな自分の得意ゲームを主張して決まらないんじゃねえのか。
はあ、そうだね。決まらないと始められ
You
ない
couldn't
ね。
watch The Garden of Sinners because of those people that sell it for way more money and I would not buy it from them, so I watched your video about it instead. I appreciate that, but yeah, it is really expensive. I remember buying it straight from Aniplex for like $400. But it is available on Crunchyroll, with the one exception being that they didn't secure the rights to Singing in the Rain, just singing in the rain. Instead, they had to replace the melody that he was singing, which was really lame, actually. But other than that, the Crunchyroll version's fine. The spectators also nodded along. It was only natural. There wasn't anybody who would simply cede to their opponent's suggestion.
紳士的に決めてほしいけど、そういう時は店のマスターが決めるってのでいい？
It was an event at a toy store, after all. You'd expect the owner to referee. After that, Mion's rundown continued. It ended with a rule that any losing participants would have to buy the game they lost at. A rather nice proposition for the store. Oh. First, we used a draw to split into 5 groups. Everybody lined up in single file and began to draw tickets that the shop owner had prepared. It was my turn. Alright, time to draw. No matter who I was up against, I'd crush him. At that moment, Mion began to laugh with a hawkish gleam in her eye.
当然わかってると思うけど、部活メンバーには一般参加者とは別に罰ゲームがつくからね。
そんなことだろうと思ったぜ。内容はなんだ？
Also, the image of Grimlock rising out of the sea with both he and Tenryu going to Berserker Rage. Interesting. You must team up with Geronimo to defeat the Scalpers. Why Geronimo? Oh, right. Right. I suppose.
勝者が敗者一人一人に1個命令。
Contrary to how simple it sounded, it was a terrifying eventuality, the subject of which no one could predict. Damn you, Mion! Was she really planning on parading me around Hinamizawa in cat ears and a banana hammock with a tail attached to it or something? The look on Mion's face told me she wasn't gonna let me off that easy. On top of that, this time, it wasn't just the person who finished last who'd have to submit to the penalty game.
敗者一人一人に命令。つまりビリでなくても罰ゲームってことだな。
そういうこと。
勝者がない場合は
You don't want to own Garden of Sinners on DVD. You want to own Garden of Sinners on Blu-ray. That's where it's at. DVDs suck. They're a dated technology that really just doesn't compress things well. Whereas Blu-ray, even if they have higher resolutions out in the future, which they already do, you know, it's a really good format. What was the anime that had that awesome soundtrack from an anime? I think it was called Yomengander. Yeah. I know that one has a pretty good one. Isn't that the song, the anime that had Borderland? That was a fun song.
部活メンバーが全員途中で脱落したらお流れか？
ゲイちゃん。 脳みそは元気？
何？
Nani? The look in Mion's eye became that of a lion baring its fangs.
我が部の再生映画どう間違ったらこんなひよこども相手に負けるっての？ケイちゃん、初戦で消えて私に恥かかさないで。
Although I am kind of pissed off that a part of my Kill la Kill Blu-ray, one of the Blu-rays had like a glitchy part on one of the episodes. They had to skip past, and I bought those brand new from Aniplex, and they were not cheap, so I'm pretty pissed at that. But that's the only time I've seen that. And the song New Order, I don't know. Even so, I didn't feel threatened. The more into it my opponent was, the stronger I would become.
見てろ。ただミオンにいじめられてたわけじゃないってことを見せてやるぜ。
会おうね。決勝で。
The results of the draw were enough to make you cry conspiracy. All of the members of the club were nicely divvied up amongst the 5 tables. How did this happen when the draw was that random? The thought that I was already caught in Mion's puppet strings made me feel uneasy. That was fine, though. I'll crush all your petty tricks. Now, where were my opponents? Everybody was headed to the table corresponding to the number on their ticket. The competition at my table was these two, huh? Well, Aniplex Blu-rays are usually fantastic because they're all dual layer, so they're much lower compression, take up more file space. I got screwed by Aniplex? No, I just think it was a faulty Blu-ray one time. Huh?
あれお前ら学校のクラスメイトだよな。
あ、どうも富田です。彼は岡村です。
Okamura-kun greeted me by nodding his head. So my opening round was to be against my juniors from school. Just saying, but it seemed like a pretty easy matchup. Lucky! Time to destroy them without mercy.
じゃあみんなそれぞれに対戦ゲームを決めて始めてちょうだい。
With Mion's declaration, the inside of the store suddenly became lively. Everybody was yelling their favorite games at each other, trying to gain an advantage before they started. Even my two classmates, who seemed taciturn at first glance, began to fiercely insist on their own games as soon as the signal was given. Of course, I would kick those suggestions aside. There was absolutely no reason to pick a game your opponent was good at.
悪いな。どれも知らないゲームなんだ。もっと知名度の高いやつにしてくれ。
Of course, they didn't agree to the games I suggested either. I could only smirk bitterly. Naturally, after 5 minutes, the table still couldn't agree on a game. Obeying the rules, we asked the store owner to decide on a game. To your Blade and Sorcery message? I didn't even notice you said something about Blade and Sorcery. Oh wait, here you go. You might want to consider Blade and Sorcery now, Generics that released 2 awesome anime weapons. I don't even know what Blade and Sorcery is. I'm not into that one, I don't think. Why would you want to replace Keiichi with Shredder? Obeying the rules, we asked the store owner to decide on a game. Clearing his throat, the shop owner brought over a board game from the back of the store. It was a game called Billionaire. Quite the vintage we have here. Come to think of it, if you lose, you have to buy this game. That damned shop owner. Was he using this competition to get rid of all the games he couldn't sell?
これなら俺も知ってるよ。二人も知ってるよな。ルーレットを回してゴールを目指す。最後に生産して一番お金を持ってるやつが勝ちだ。
The two nodded in agreement, and finally the game was underway. At that time, I already had a feeling of impending crisis. I wouldn't realize why until after the game had progressed a bit.
1、2、3、4出産祝いをもらう。全員から5000ドルもらう。悪いね。
Okay, I've built up quite a bit of a lead.
1、2、3、4、
Playing the game of life.
7、8と。
You do not get anime on Adult Swim.
ボーナス。銀行から10万ドルもらう。
Damn! Damn! What? The tables were turned in an instant. $100,000 from the bank?
2、3。
What nice, delightful world do you guys live in?
出世コースに進む。
Oh, that's a good route. Seemed like only my piece was landing on the steady spaces. I had doubts as to why Mion didn't bring out board games for club activities, but the reason was laid bare to me before my eyes. That's right, I had only realized it now. This game was completely based on luck. What could I possibly do to make sure I ended up in first place at the end? The ultimate outcome of this game was decided in a place beyond human hands. How are the other club members doing? My eyes naturally wandered off to the other tables. Mion's table was... what? They weren't doing anything. Had they still not decided on a game? This naive idea existed to distract me from the most frightening possibility. Mion was lounging about, leisurely holding some juice she brought from the vending machine outside in one hand. When our eyes met, she gave me a look of ease. It couldn't be, she'd already finished. What game was it? That easily? It was probably too late to be concerned with that at this point. Only 5 minutes since we started, and our two opponents were already beyond recourse. They were sitting there, slumped over in disappointment, muttering to themselves, trying to figure out where they went wrong. For that, they'd find no answer. Was there any reason for their defeat other than they sat at the table, the same table as me on? Utrum Shredder in the story, because why not? Yeah. It is IRL RNG. If Strange Fake gets an anime adaptation, Sawano needs to do the OP. That would be cool. Sawano Hiroyuki can do whatever the hell. I'll watch anything like that. Then what about Reina's table? The spectators were causing quite a commotion. It looked like their game was Karuta. The shop owner was apparently the one reading out the cards. Reina tended to dawdle along, and to space out a lot. Wouldn't she have had a hard time with this game? Bam! At the same instant the shop owner began sounding out the words, the card in question disappeared off the face of the table. No, the face of the earth. Impossible! Where did it go? It was against Reina's cheek. She was rubbing it there. Looking at the card Reina was rubbing against her cheek, it was some anime-themed version of Karuta, with rather cute moe illustrations decorating the cards. Basically, it was a picture of a pretty dog girl with a slightly large chest, panting and half in tears as she was being pulled along on a chain. That seems rather inappropriate, and I give it the thumbs up. With those types of pictures, even I could play with godlike speed. Well, I wouldn't buy Garden of Sinners Blu-ray or DVD from like eBay or something. I'd wait until, or if, Aniplex ever restocked it. Out of all people to play that game, it just had to be Reina. It was entirely possible that her fingertips were on the verge of breaking the sound barrier.
決まったね。
Mion smiled coolly. Seeing no further reason to keep watch, she turned back. Hello? After that, the second the cards started being read out, BAM! BAM! Such decisive sounds echoed. Alright, you're out for the day. Got work to do before the 4th. See you later. Oh yeah, 4th is tomorrow. Well then, how about Satoko? Oh, she was playing a rather orthodox game. Concentration. Judging from the distressed look on Satoko's face, it seemed that she was struggling somehow. One of the main characteristics of concentration is that the pace of the game speeds up as it goes on. As the number of cards to memorize decreases, it becomes easier to match several pairs in a row. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that the first person to take over the flow of the match can run away as the winner. The cards still in play had decreased. If you memorized the cards that had been turned over before, you should have a good chance to sweep the table at this point. Satoko probably knew the positions of all the remaining cards. However, her turn came a little too late. If her opponent followed up, the match would be decided.
悪いけど、僕も優勝賞金を狙ってるんだ。悪く思うなよ。
This guy. Didn't he have the locations of the remaining cards memorized too? He was completely certain of his victory. The tension on his face relaxed.
決まったな。
I whispered that in a bored manner as I turned my attention back to my own game. I spun the wheel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
そんな、確かにここは。
People praise his work on Attack on Titan and Gundam. Xenoblade weep and cry at the soundtrack the fandom, especially Xenoblade X, didn't deserve. Wait, what are you talking about? I like Xenoblade Chronicles X's soundtrack. It was good, and it was great for that game. The only thing I didn't like was like the vocalist. We're stuck on a different planet. Like that kind of crap I couldn't stand, but the actual instrumentation was amazing. Yeah, Studio Dean, I think, did a good job of this anime. It helped that it was kind of an ugly story to begin with. It kind of just worked out. There was a commotion at Satoko's table as she rang out. Or as the shout rang out. The other two at my table turned around in surprise. I didn't. After all, there really wasn't anything to be surprised about. The onlookers were confounded, most of them certain that the Ace of Hearts should have been there. There's no way. I must be seeing things. It must have been because I was excited. So assured in his victory, the distress over his defeat ran deep. That's how it is. If his opponent wasn't Satoko, the Ace of Hearts certainly would have been there. What a fool. When you're up against Satoko, you can't let your guard down for a moment until the battle is over.
あら、ケイチさんの勝負はまだつきませんの？センスないですわね。
With a refined tone of voice reserved for only winners, Satoko called out to me. For the casual observer, it must have looked like she only eked out a victory. From my point of view, however, she was only playing around. The roles of winner and loser had already been decided. It was nothing more than child's play. The laughable part about it was that her opponent didn't know his role and had already been assigned.
やるじゃねえか。ハートのエースなんておしゃれな罠をかけやがって。
I'm doing fantastic. How about you? I am not going to play Umineko. I'm sorry, I'll say it right now, but it ain't going to happen.
それも一個で十分ですのよ。
Satoko was a trapper. Her true talent was never having one misfire. Setting off only one trap was more than enough? Ain't that cool. The fact that the other club members were winning one after another with their own brand of play only added to my impatience at my own lack of progress. Oh right, how is Rika-chan doing? How is our club's sly little fox doing? What the heck is that? Over in the corner, the mood at the table was decidedly different from the others. The game at Rika-chan's table was, you know, that battery-powered fishing game? The one where the fish opened and closed their mouths as they rotated on the platform, and you used a magnetic fishing rod to pick them up? That old thing. It seems they planned on competing by seeing who could catch the most fish, but it had become an atmosphere you could hardly call competitive.
わあ、釣れましたですよ。
うまいうまい。リカちゃんうまいよ。おっとっと、また釣られちゃったよ。リカちゃんはうまいな。
I knew that Rika-chan had already charmed her opponents, along with the onlookers, before the matches had even begun, but... brilliantly played. That corner had become an informal meeting of the Rika Furude fan club. I know, I missed that game too. I always thought it was cool when I was a kid.
圧勝だよ。リカちゃん、お魚釣りうまいんだね。
リカちゃんが釣ってるのは多分魚じゃないと思うな。
Hearing that, she glanced over my way briefly. This is my way of getting serious. That's what I heard.
リカにしかできない、リカだから許される大技ですわね。
Yeah, a masterful technique.
前原さんの番ですよ。
ああ、すまんすまん。俺の番か。1、2、脱税の追徴。
Oh no.
5万ドル支払う。
Oof, that's some major tax evasion. In contrast, my game. What an unseemly situation this was. Noticing the uneasiness creeping across my face, my companions came to see how I was doing.
あれ、ケイチ君、ひょっとして苦戦かな？苦戦かな？岡村、あなた今いくらぐらい持ってますですの？
Okamura, who had wrung lots of money out of the elite course, began to count through a stack of white $100,000 bills.
98万ちょいくらいかな。
富田はどれくらいお金持ちですか？
僕は88万ドル。まだまだ逆転できる位置だね。
Those two, it looked like they would easily surpass $1 million.
で、ケイちゃんはいくら持ってんの？
Mion's tone of voice was grim from the get-go. It was her disappointment and it was her disappointment and disgust as club president.
仕方ねえだろ。このゲームルーレット回す以外に何も作戦がないんだぜ。イカ様があるとしたらなんだよ。二人に目をつぶって100数えてもらって、その隙にルーレットに細工でもするのか。そんなのできるわけねえだろ。
Mika-chan gently pets my head. She wasn't too happy.
ブー様ですわね。一度は好敵手と思ったのに幻滅でしたよ。
Where you live, you do not get anime on Adult Swim. I don't watch Adult Swim. I haven't watched cable TV in ages.
投げちゃダメだよ、ケイイチ君。何か逆転があるはずだよ。頑張ろう。最後まで頑張ろう。
Like I said, how am I supposed to make a comeback with this game relying entirely on luck? Right? Mion? Mion's face, however, was almost unbelievably indifferent, like she was watching something completely unexciting. When she turned her back without saying a word.
おい、ミオ。
It was a pathetic voice that irked even myself.
失望したよ。みんな本気なのに。ケイちゃんだけは本気になってくれなかったね。
本気ってなんだよ。気合でルーレットの目をコントロー
You
ルしろって
stupid
のかよ。
gremlin. Satoko, there you go.
そんなのできるかよ。
本気のケイちゃんならそのゲームでも開始10秒で蹴りをつけてたね。
みーちゃん、そんなに怒ることないよ。待ってよ。
Mion, in a bad mood, cast me aside and disappeared into the depths of the shop. Maybe it was because it had become an awkward situation, but the spectators dispersed from around my table. Damn it! Are you saying I'm not serious about this? Are you saying if I were serious, I would have settled this game of chance in 10 seconds? If I were serious? If I were serious? Everybody was praying for my victory. They believed in me. Did I betray their expectations? Was it because I wasn't serious? Ah!
ゲーム進めます？
The two of them were timidly trying to resume play. I didn't respond to that. The table sunk into silence.
前原君は投了でいいかな。
The owner, thinking I was forfeiting, started to announce the cancellation of the game. At that moment, the demon inside me let a loose howl and awakened. I get it now, Mion. What it means for me to be serious? I'll show you! I clamped my hand on their shoulders, speaking in a low voice after pulling them closer.
富田君、岡村君、取引しよう。俺を勝たせろ。
The two of them, not immediately understanding what I had just said or the meaning behind it, were momentarily confused.
前原さん、暴力はなしですよ。ちゃんとゲームで勝敗を。
話は最後まで聞け。お前らの望みは何だ。優勝して5万円か。
そりゃそうですよ。
I don't have it. Chaos Head is not on my priority list.
5万なんて大金。二度とないチャンスですよ。
仮に優勝したとして、お前らその5万で何をする？どんな楽しみ方をする？
Even the two of them considered it briefly.
新しいゲーム買うとか、お菓子とか、
That's a lot of snacks.
ジュースとか。
小せえ小せえ。バカかお前ら。
じゃあ前原さんが勝ったらどんな楽しみ方があるって言うんですか？
俺か？そこが本題だ。今から言うことを黙って聞け。
Will I roll for Castoria? Of course I will. Hell yeah, I will. We club members have a penalty game separate from the casual participants. If we lose, we have to obey a single command from the winner. From another point of view, the winner earns the prize of being able to order the other club members around.
まず富田君、君は里子萌えだよな。否定すんな。 そして岡村君、君は理科萌えだな。赤くなるな。
I drew the two of them, red-faced and conscious of whether anybody else heard what I said, even closer.
美少女萌え、男の推薦、男のロマン。
He did not say lolis. He said bishoujo. He said beautiful women. Moe, what men covet. What men dream about. So, just clarifying. What anime have I been watching so far? Birdie Wing. I was enjoying that a lot. Spy X Family, of course. Summertime Rendering is my personal favorite this season. And I guess it's continuing on into the next season as well. World's End Domination or whatever was pretty funny. The one where they're pretend like the hero and the villain are secretly dating. Shikimori-san is good. Shield Hero was an absolute disappointment. It was very sad. I hear it's a shit adaptation of the light novels, but I wasn't even interested in the concepts they were pursuing, so presuming it was done even better, I don't know if I would have been excited about it. So I might just wind up dropping Shield Hero. Which is sad. I feel like there was one more, but I can't remember it right now.
例えるなら永遠にたどり着けないエデンの園。だけど目指すんだろ。これは俺たちのハートに熱い魂が燃えよと叫ぶからだ。
That sensitive age where you couldn't say you liked the girl you liked. Understanding that gave me all the more power.
俺が優勝したら富田君、佐藤君を一日首輪付きで君の妹にしてあげよう。
The manga of what was better? A red fountain spewed from both of Tomita-kun's nostrils.
そして岡村君、君には猫耳リカちゃんに手綱をつけてお散歩させてあげよう。
Blood erupted from the vein in Okumura-kun's forehead. Oh, Jesus.
そんなことそんな
You get an Overwatch anime? The game is shit, but the lore, in your opinion, is interesting. Can't wait for Star Wars Vision Season 2. Interesting, yeah.
うろたえるな。お前たちは俺に無理やり付き合わされたことにすればいいんだ。
Oh, the manga of Shield Hero.
前原先輩のわがままの犠牲者なだけいやいやでいいんだよ。分かってる。お前たちの胸の内は全部分かってる。
Yeah, usually the manga's better when it comes to an anime with a shit art style, or one that's lazier on the production values. Then I suddenly lowered the tone of my voice.
俺は灰色の学校生活を送ってきた。それがどんなにつまらなく人生の大切な時間を浪費したことになるのか身をもって知った。だから後輩のお前たちにはそんな時間を過ごしてほしくないんだよ。自分に素直になれ、夢を追え、そして叶えろ。
He almost sounds like he's giving like a Zack style pep talk to Cloud. Embrace your dreams, or whatever it was. Now that you guys bring it up, I'm going to see what is on the upcoming season. Summer 2022, yeah, there we go. There's Hataraku Mao-sama Season 2, definitely going to watch that. Kanojo Okarishimasu, so Rental Girlfriend, definitely watching that. Me, I don't watch Overlord. Made in Abyss, hell yeah, I'll be watching that. Danmachi, hell yeah, I'll be watching that. Saikin Yatota Maid ga Ayashi. I'm probably gonna watch. That looks good. I think I really love the artist behind it too. It's just some beautiful maid with dark skin, whatever. Sounds wonderful. Utawada Dumo no Futari no Hakuoro. Absolutely going to love that. I'm surprised that's actually coming. It's been years since the last Utawada Dumo no. I did not finish Gleipnir, no. Let's see here. Summertime rendering is going to continue. I'll keep watching that. That cyberpunk anime looks kinda cool, I guess. The sequel to Sword Art Online Progressive is coming out. Cool. Will I finish Gleipnir? Not. It's not on my priorities again. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Progressive is a reboot, but I'm saying it's the sequel to the previous Progressive film, because the first one's already out, so they're making the second one now. Alright, can you get these boys to nut blood? Ugh. It was this moment that the values of the men bridged bridged generations. Did I ever have a mentor who ever spoke my mind for me? What? Did I ever have a mentor who spoke my mind for me so strongly? Never. There was no way there was. That's because in a man's lifetime, he'll only have 3 fateful encounters. That valuable first time was being experienced right this moment with these two.
じゃあいいな行くぞせーのゲーム終了
It was such an assertive declaration of the game's ending that everybody in the store turned and looked. It had been less than 3 minutes since I was on the verge of forfeit, and all spectators were certain of my loss. Yeah, we already had the first Progressive movie. It kind of slipped under the radar, but it did come out in theaters. I have a theater poster of it, which is pretty cool. They happen to be doing a charity auction where you could get the posters they used in the movie theater if you pledged a certain amount of money to charity and yours is the highest. I only pledged like $50 and I won. I was like, oh, interesting. But yeah, I'll take the poster home. So yeah, I paid $50 for an SAO poster, which sounds ridiculous, but again, it was for charity.
俺の完全勝利だ
なんですってあの状況どうやってひっくり返しましたの
家庭なんか必要ないよな
I didn't like blame much at all personally, but yeah.
男と男の決着
I was kind of depressed that even though Sword Art Online Progressive was a movie, it had a movie's budget, presumably, it didn't look as good in some ways as the original season. It's just strange to me. I felt like the animation was a little bit better in the original.
ああみんな
The two of them, stifling tears of gratitude, answered strongly from the bottom of their hearts. Exactly what kind of miracle occurred here during those 3 minutes that the spectators all looked away from my utter disadvantage? The spectators were puzzled at how I was able to so quickly overcome that hopeless situation. That guy, is he able to control the spinner wheel with his eyes or something? It's a miracle. What devilry is this? He's in cahoots with that Mion, you know? There's no doubt that he had some strange trick up his sleeve. I looked at the crowd, who couldn't help but be excited, out of the corner of my eye. Now, fully awakened in this battle mode, I let out a derisive laugh.
これが俺の本気ってことだよミオ
遅えっての。
Baring our fangs at each other, we laughed together in a most unsightly fashion.
じゃあこれで部活メンバーが全員1回戦突破ですわね。ということは今度はみんなで対決だね。対決だね。僕はもう賞金で買うものを決めていますです。もちろんですわ。ねえ。
Satsuko and Rena smiled, or sneered at each other. Huh, these guys. Do they really think they can win against Keiichi Maibata when he gets serious?
ミオ失敗だったなお前はさっき俺に助言すべきじゃなかったぜ
ひよこが私に勝つなんて100万光年早いって。
ミオ光年は距離の単位だぞ
Oh, she's embarrassed. She's embarrassed. Yes, light years are not time.
モミーちゃん5人でどう戦うのかな。
さーてこれだけ豪華な面々が揃ったんだからね。今日という日を急ぐのが惜しいよ。
ミーの言ってる意味が難しいです。
まさかてめえ
Mion's hair flowed elegantly, almost like a cape as she turned her back to the table. Eleganto!
今日の勝負を部長園崎ミオンが預からせてもらうよ。勝負方法と日時は未定。ギャラリーは多い方がいいね。ひなみ沢も沖宮も全ての人間の目の前で。これ以上ないくらい徹底的な決着をつけてあげるよ。
逃げる気ですの。いくらミオさんでも卑怯ですことよ。
ひよこが生かされたことにまだ気づかんか。
It's gonna be a Kamen Rider anime? That just seems weird to me. Like a tokusatsu style anime, it's like, well, it lent itself to live action, but I don't know. If people are happy, that's good.
また会いましょう。せいぜい首でも洗っとくことね。
What do you think of Castoria coming out? I mean, I knew she was coming out. Just a matter of time until when. I can't say much until after I experience more of her. I've been purposely keeping myself a little bit out of the loop on that. With a shrill laugh, Mion left the store. After a moment of silence, the crowd erupted into cheers. When will they resume the contest? Mion's serious. The other members did great too. That new guy, Maibata, he's got some strange power. He turned the tables in an instant.
絶対優勝してくださいよおうミオンなんざ逆さにしてサンズの川に叩き込んでやるぜ
The part of the crowd that had apparently overheard the covenant between Tomita-kun, Okumura-kun, and myself erupted into a cheer again. Mion's going to win anyways. She's the undefeated Empress. I'm betting on Mion. No, it's going to be Rena with that ungodly speed. Satoko the trap artist. Rika the siren. It may be a long shot, but it'll be my Bara. However, right now I had no ear for those cheerful voices. Setting the stage for this huge match and then running away like that, I wasn't going to forgive Mion. Outside of the store, Mion was getting on her bike as the shop owner was seeing her off.
逃げるなミオン。部長なら逃げるな。俺と戦え。
ごめんケイちゃん、私これからバイト。
Oh, she's got to go to her part-time job. Whoops. Her baito. Gotta go to the baito. Huh? Like you would see in a sketch comedy show, my legs slipped in opposite directions until I was doing the splits.
ケイチくんがゲームしてる間にみーちゃんに電話があったの。残念だね。
No one's a trap. Satoko sets traps. We're not talking that kind of trap.
せっかく暑くなってきたのについてないよ。おじさんの店でさ、特売にお客が殺到してるらしくてさ、レジが足りないから助けてって電話があったんだよ。
おじさんってなんだ？スーパーの店長でもやってんのか？
ささやかなお店だけどね。でもさ、特売やれば主婦が殺到するの常識で読めないのかね。店員足りないのに卵1パックを一人様1点限り10円なんてやるな。
I was a little surprised. You would never think that this was the club president exuding such a dark aura inside the store just a short time ago. It was the usual Mion right now, almost exasperatingly so. My shoulders slumped. That's right. Club mode was over now. But it was really heated today. It was really fun. Damn, Mion. She really knows how to fire people up.
私こそ頭がジンジンしびれるくらい燃え上がったよ。特にケイちゃん、怖かった。あの場で本当に噛み殺されるんじゃないかって思ったね。
お仕事だから仕方ないけど、本当に残念だね。この続き本当にやりたいですわね。いつがいいでございましょう。綿流しのお祭りでやるのなんていいですよ。
In your opinion, which Xenogame regardless would make the best anime adaptation? Personally, you'd prefer X or Xenoblade 2, Torna anime adaptation? For me, I'm going to say neither of those. What I would love, honestly, and I don't know if it's probably impossible, unfortunately, but I would love a full Xenogears anime done with that same 90s aesthetic that they use in the anime cutscenes for Xenogears. Just make Xenogears the full anime that way. That would be so amazing. I would watch that so hard. It could be done today in the modern era if the animators had the balls to actually use a retro style and keep things old school on purpose. There are a couple of anime that do that still, and I really like it. Probably something like Cardcaptor Sakura, the crystal... Was it crystal cards or something? I can't remember. No, clear card. Cardcaptor Sakura clear card. Those, did a fantastic job of animating in HD, but still creating that exact same old school look. Like it was literally just the next thing. But yeah, Xenogears animated with that old school hand-painted cell kind of aesthetic would be amazing. Xenosaga had an absolute dog shit anime. It was terrible, so that nobody wants that. That was awful. Awful in every sense.
Wataganashi-hen 五強爆闘か。そうだね。考えておくかな。
Right now, what were Rika-chan and Mion talking about? Wataganashi Festival? Cotton drifting 5D in what?
私週刊漫画みたいないい加減なノリ大好きなんだ。こんな痛快な部活が近いうちにまたできるといいね。
She laughed with a smile that made you feel refreshed just looking at it. At that moment, the shop owner came out carrying a paper bag. Have you seen Sage of Tanya Season 2? Can't wait for it to come out. Well, I couldn't have seen it if it's not out yet, but, yeah. I don't even care for a Xenogears remake. I think the game was already very charming in its own right. I liked that sort of old school element to it, and that's what I'd want the anime to be. So it's almost more like I wish there had been a Xenogears anime, more than I want one to be there now. Because I just don't think, yeah. So Still Alive, did you see the Bleach trailer released today? I saw a GIF. I'm not much of a Bleach fan, but it looks better than your typical Bleach fare for sure. At that moment, the shop owner came out carrying a paper bag. I wonder what it is. Is he giving it to us?
今日はみんな本当にありがとう。おかげでイベントは大盛り上がりだったよ。大したものじゃないけど、これ今日のおだちんに。
あ、吉郎おじさん。私にはないの？おだちん。
あらあらあら、可愛いのが出てきましたわよ。
When Satoko and Rika-chan opened up the bag, there were cute little stuffed animals inside.
わあ、これ可愛い。お持ち帰りしていいの？
I don't know. It would take a tremendous amount of effort. I'd like to see them try to do it with the same art style, but I don't know if they could pull it off. It's like, what is it, the anime Bastard just came out with its new reboot on Netflix, or its remake, or whatever. So there's an old 90s version that I like a lot, and now we've got the Netflix one to watch. And part of me was just like, are you going to be able to capture that same aesthetic or same quality? And I don't know, I guess I'm just disappointed by a lot of modern stuff, or at least how they've been very unable to carry over, like, the good old 90s anime art style into digital HD and all that. Dude, Xenogears is all about defeating God, or a false god in this sense. It was less like straight up Christianity and more Gnosticism. So, no. Like, the same people who like Evangelion are gonna love Xenogears. They're butt buddies, as far as I'm concerned.
本当に？
ってことは俺のもかな。お、なんだかやたら可愛いのが出てきたぞ。
It was a stuffed toy wearing a beautiful dress, one you'd use to play house. Rina's eyes were glued to my stuffed doll. Satoko was the same, and Rika-chan too?
ケイちゃんには一番似合わないのが出てきちゃったね。
なんつうのか、プリティっていうかキュートっていうか、可愛いのは認めるんだが、着せ替え人形はちょっとな。
ケイちゃんが持ってたら確実に明日からあれな趣味の人扱いだね。うん。
Tokyo Mew Mew? Yeah, I never was into that back in the day, so I wouldn't know much. Mion didn't have to go that far. This wasn't something a guy like me should be carrying around. Mion was the only other one who didn't receive a present, so I thought about giving it to her. However, after briefly considering, I gave it to Rena instead. Worst decision ever. Worst decision ever, KG. She already had stuffed animals. You don't need to give her more.
くれるの？レナに？ありがとう。
方針のためだよ。レナにあげないと夜道が怖い。
違いない違いない。
ミオンにあげようかと思ったけど、ちょっと違うよな。
へへへへ。分かってるじゃない。
Just so you know, tomboys are tomboys, but that doesn't mean they don't like girly things to an extent, or want to be treated as a girl,
私さ、
Or you wind up with this
どうして
route.
男に生まれなかったのかなって思う時あるよ。
女でよかったな。男だったらもうとっくに殺してる。
What?
今のうちに殺しといた方がいいよ。じゃないとケイちゃん死んで後悔することになるから。
Mion laughed after saying such an ominous line. Everybody laughed heartily along with her.
来世では神様に男にしてもらえるように頼めよ。俺も男にしてもらうから。
そしたらケイちゃんと組んで軽く全国制覇から始めようかね。
Mion-chan, if you don't get going soon, the shop owner told her meekly. The lot of us looked like we were having a lot of fun, so it must have been hard to put a wet blanket on things.
じゃあね。今日は最高に楽しかった。またねみんな。明日学校で。
Worst decision ever. Yep, Simpson style.
バイト遅刻すんなよ。
Everybody waved their hands and watched as Mion left. Before I knew it, the sun was already setting and the breeze carried a hint of chill.
もうちょっと街で遊んでいく？それとも帰るかな？暗くなると道が怖いですよ。では引き上げ時ですわね。今日は本当にいっぱい騒ぎましたわ。
そうだな。よっしゃ、帰ろうぜ。
The wind blew gently, as if to cool down those of us flushed with enthusiasm. The road back to Hinamizawa was long, but I didn't really mind.
そうそう。レナさん圧勝でございましたわね。
レナがああなっちゃ悪いけど誰にも勝ち目はないな。
だってすごい可愛いカルタだったんだもの。ほら買っちゃったんだよ。はう。リカも相変わらずですわ。リカにかかれば男どもなんて赤子の手をひねるようなものですわね。楽勝だったのです。
Ah, the Yukiko boss fight. Wait, who's your best girl, Connor?
どこまで計算づくでどこまでが天然なのか。
I used to be Chie all the way, and then I kind of started to really like Naoto.
リカちゃんの行く末が実に怖いな。
Of course, I'd unlock Naoto's social link and get the schoolgirl outfit and put her in that.
さとこちゃんだってすごかったね。最後は大盛り上がりだったよ。褒められるようなゲームではありませんでしたよ。ケイチも最後はとうとう牙を剥きましたです。
まあな、俺は追い詰められてからが強い男なんだ。
富田さんたちなんだかすっごく応援してましたけど、何ですかしらね。富田と岡村に何か約束してましたです。きっと内緒話なのですよ。
Makoto is very good.
内緒話、内緒話。なんだろうね、なんだろうね。
男には時に戦いを通じてしか語り合えないものがあるんだよ。
Desperately laughing, I frantically tried to avoid the subject. After that, everybody continued to praise each other for how they defeated their opponents, and reflected on how fun today was.
見てごらんなさいませ。夕日が綺麗でございますわよ。
Satoko, getting even more excited, pointed. Well, the thing about Naoto is that she was always embarrassed to embrace her femininity because she was so afraid that it kept her from being, you know, the detective she always wanted to be. So by her, you know, social link and falling in love with you, she's finally able to trust and embrace her feminine side that she normally was so hesitant about. And so seeing her all flustered and cutesy like that regarding wearing that outfit is fantastic. The cries of the Higurashi were gentle and very comforting. They're comforting for now. Tips acquired. Who's Mion's uncle? Don't care right now. Continue.
Gogo no jugyoってさ、どうしてこう眠いんだろうね。
Mion spoke in a voice that went so far as to make whoever heard it lethargic.
眠いことに医学的説明が必要かよ。話してもいいが、もっと眠くなるぞ。
堪忍して。
It was almost 3 o'clock. 6th period was almost over. By the way, Satoko and everyone else in the lower grades ended their school day after 5th period, so they were probably running around in the schoolyard right now. I could hear their joy-filled voices coming from there right now. Oh, what I would give to be able to join them.
ほら、みーちゃんは委員長さんなんだからもっと頑張らないと。寝ちゃダメだよ。
私さ、クラス委員
Do you
長じゃ
think
なく
that
て
you would be a good father to Mordred? No, because I don't want to be Mordred's father. That's not my job. That's not the kind of relationship I would foresee if I actually had Mordred in reality. What is the best way to raise guts in P4 Golden? Can't you get guts by, like, taking the burger challenge? Or is that in Persona 5? I can't remember. It was like a burger challenge. No. In Persona 4, it was the eat the gigantic fucking ramen challenge, or whatever it was. By taking that challenge, though it cost money, you could build your guts. I remember that.
Oh? してその心は？
水泳部なだけに睡眠グーなんちゃって。
What? Bam! The teacher cackled as she hit the back of Mion's head with the corner of a textbook.
お後がよろしいようで、今日はこれくらいにしましょう。委員長、号令。
起立。気をつけ。
The burger challenge, yeah, that was in Persona 5. Was it Galaxy Burger? Mion, who had been half asleep, became lively again the moment she heard class was over. It must be delightful to be that shrewd. Homeroom was done after the lower grades had finished their lessons, so we were free to go. It was one of the odd rules we had we had as a mixed grade school. When they knew class was over, Satoko and Rika-chan returned to the classroom.
お疲れ様なのです。さあ、楽しい部活の時間ですのよ。
Yeah?
よっしゃ。そうだね。今日は何をしようかね。
ねえみーちゃん、今日は昨日のイベントの続きにはならないの？そうですわ。あれだけ大盛り上がりして尻切れトンボでは。
Just out of curiosity, are the rumors of FGO Arcade getting canceled? I had heard rumors that they shut down the project. Like, no way that's true. I don't think they did. From what I hear, it looks like that game is making some amazing money. The Big Bang Burger Challenge. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Connor. You enjoyed P5? It's very interesting. A food challenge in the game. Yeah. Well, it was just one of those things you could do with your time off. And by taking the challenge, you'd raise your guts. Plus, if you beat the challenge, you got a big boost in other stats as well. So it was a very economical choice. Outside of reading books, there are certain books that'll do guts. and movies would occasionally do guts if you watch the right ones.
放課後の教室なんてしみったれたロケーションじゃなくて、もっと晴れの舞台でさ。
俺はいつ
What
も
is my favorite popsicle? I didn't know there was enough popsicle varieties for me to know. Maybe just a fudgesicle.
決勝戦は後輩たちも立ち会わせる約束になってるんだ。あらかじめ日取りを決めてほしいぜ。
わあ、ケイチくんすごい。応援してくれる人がいるんだね。いるんだね。レナにも応援してくれる人いないかな。
I couldn't help but watch as Rena entered her pining maiden mode.
手は抜けないけど、レナの優勝、俺が祈ってるぜ。
FGO Arcade wouldn't run on the Nintendo Switch for shit. They should just do it PC. They should do it PC for sure. But not through Steam. They should just do it on their own. Or, yeah, Sony would probably throw a hiss fit. Though Aniplex and Sony kind of have like a deal going on, so I wonder, man. But yes, they should make some degree of a console port or something so that we can play it. Because that game is gorgeous. Way more gorgeous than base FGO, for sure. With a saccharine Keiichi brand smile, I ruffled Rena's hair roughly.
ケイチくん、それどういう。
Rena turned bright red and short-circuited, smoke billowing from both her ears. Gazing into her eyes, a strange scene of me holding hands with Rena and skipping through a flower bed was reflected there. Even if it was somebody else's imagination, it was terribly troubling.
レナ殺しのケイチなのです。
When Rika-chan said that, everyone burst out laughing at once.
でもそのレナはサトコやリカちゃんキラーなわけでしょ。
You want a beat-em-up style game with all the FGO servants? Yeah, that makes sense. I love beat-em-up. I cannot wait for River City Girls 2. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. They said the game was supposed to come out summer of this year, but I haven't heard much afterward. Steam or Sony should let us access the feature. I'm just saying it should. I'm worried about Sony trying to censor shit. That's the problem.
私たちはケイチさんには負けませんでした
But the idea, even if they wanted to keep it a fucking gacha microtransaction hellhole, which is what seems like the arcade game is, you could still do that on modern consoles. I mean, that's what Genshin Impact is doing. It's not like it has to be on a phone for you to make transactions, you know? Is Reina canonically in love with Keiichi? They definitely seem like they're like almost the most compatible, but it's hard to say. River City Three Kingdoms. Yeah, that just seems weird, honestly. I'm just glad that they added in like the hot chick with the abs to River City Girls 2, sorry. That'll be cool.
なんだか面白い相関図だな。俺たちの強さってじゃんけんみたいに相性があるわけだ。でもそれミオンが抜けてるな。
当たり前でしょ。私相性なんか関係なく誰にでも負けないし。
Mion leered with the gaze befitting of a club president, no, befitting of an empress. The mood in the room became more lively. It was a good moment as any to get started.
さーて、ぼちぼち始めようかね。
それでみーちゃん、今日は何をやるのかな
There is not a canonical pairing, I don't think. And even if it were, it would be to like one specific timeline, or like an extra. Mion let out a small interjection as she rummaged through the so-called club locker. Every time I look, there's always a ton of things crammed in there. Everything that's jammed in that locker is a game of some kind, you know? On top of that, things used for penalty games like cat ears and collars were kept in there. The capacity of that thing is unfathomable. That locker, maybe it was actually extending through the wall into the fourth dimension. That's my theory, anyway. If not that, then how else could you explain how someone could pull out item after item? After Mion touched her hands to her chin briefly in thought, she turned around without pulling out any games.
今日はさ、ちょっとシンプルに言ってみようかね。
Schrodinger's harem.
大道具を使ったゲームばかりってのも大味で良くないでしょ。
どんなゲームでもみんなでやれば大盛り上がりしますです。そうだね、そうだね。
Rena and I both expressed our agreement. I feel the same way. With this group, there's no doubt even if we were pulling weeds from the school grounds, it would be fun.
私は楽しくないですわ。草むしりなんか。
あ、やっぱりか。っていうかさとこ、人の表情を見て考えを読むのはやめろ。
I was wondering that myself. His internal monologue is being perceived.
すぐわかっちゃうんだよ。
You would actually love an event with H.P. Lovecraft. No, not Cart, his insert character, but the actual H.P. Lovecraft in FGO. He is both a prick and a tragic character. Yeah. Well, Steam and Sony are the censorship lords, and that's the one problem. Will I watch Saga Tanya the Evil Season 2? It's not going to be on my priority list, I'm going to say. I reviewed the first season/movie and did kind of like a lore-ish of it, or made a video on it, rather, the philosophy of it, because it was a $50 patron thing. But other than that, it's not my favorite show. It's a good show. I've always been told that, but ever since I transferred, it seems like it's been especially bad. I need to develop a poker face, or I could be in for a rough time.
はい、みんな傾聴。ルールを説明するよ。
We all immediately cut the idle chatter and put on stern expressions. In no time at all, everybody's gaze focused like a tiger or a shark, listening intently. That's right. From the point where the rules are explained, the match has already begun.
今日のゲームは割とパーティーゲームでは知られてるやつだよね。
Mario Party! Wahoo!
シンパシーって言うんだけど。
Sympathy, huh?
聞いたことある人いる？
Sympathy. It means to share someone's feelings, right? Huh. Maybe I might know this?
みーちゃん、それひょっとしてお題目を決めてみんなで連想する言葉を書いて同じ答えを書いた人が多ければ多いほど得点っていうゲームかな。
Yes, these are the same VA from the anime. I recall playing a game like that in grade school while we were on the bus during a field trip.
知らないゲームでしたよ。説明してほしいですわね。
まずね、親がお題目を決めるんだよ。例えばデザートっていうお題目を決めたとする。さとこはデザートって言われたら真っ先に何を思いつくかな？
そうですわね。例えばプリンとか。
オッケー。だったらさとこは
Yes, Mario Party ends friendships.
プリンって書くわけ。で、全員で一斉の背で答えを公開し合う。で、プリンって書いた人が2人以上いれば得点。いればいるほど高得点だから。
What happens if we get Tsukihime remake in the West? Then it would spell a good thing as far as Type Moon localizing visual novels, helping to push the fact that things like visual novels will in fact sell in the West if you sell them to people.
つまりみんなと同じ答えになるように考えるのがコツなのです。
It was exactly as Rika-chan said. The point of this game was to think in a way so that you have the same answer as everyone else. For example, even if you heard the word dessert and immediately thought of strawberry sundae, if your answer doesn't match up with everyone else, you don't get any points. Marie, thoughts on her? I've heard some hate and some love for her character in P4 Golden. Any thoughts on it yourself? I have a hard time getting excited in the tacked-on characters like Tsumire and Marie because they don't get to go on the same the same journey as everyone else. They're always just off to the sidelines. And so even if they can be kind of interesting or fun, it just never feels like they really belong. We are already getting Mahotsukai no Yoru, so Tsukihime in the West is not impossible. Well, you gotta be careful, because they're not giving us Mahotsukai no Yoru in the West. They are just providing English for the Japanese release. There's a bit of a difference there, because we have to import the game. It's still a good thing to have it in English, and it certainly supports Western fans, but it's not being sold through Western means, which could be a good way for, you know, Japanese companies to release to release games uncensored, because usually the censorship and the fighting and all the other crap happens during the localization process with a third party. In this way, Japan's kind of getting rid of a third party. That's why you have to hold off on that answer and change to one that seems like everyone else will choose. The key becomes not what you think yourself, but being able to predict what everyone else's answer will be. It's a very high-level intellectual game.
みー、さとこのために一回だけ練習をしてみましょうです。
オッケー。親は部長である私でいいよね。お題もこう何か適当に。
Taking out her literature textbook, she began flipping to a random page.
一回だけ練習戦ね。最初のお題目はかき氷。
かき氷!
かき氷って言ったら決まってるよね。
What, strawberry? Among the standard flavors of shaved ice, there's strawberry, melon, and blue Hawaii. I mean, blue Hawaii, yes, I love blue. Anything blue. Also, they can make so people don't need to use dollar to buy games. You mean other countries that don't use US currency? Ujigintoki? What the fuck is that? What? I'm the only one with melon?
お前ら
You suck,
イチゴなん
Keiichi.
てスタンダードなつまんねえの選ぶだよな。おいレナ、かき氷でイチゴなんか頼むかよ。夏祭りで一番早く売り切れるのはメロンって決まってるんだぜ。
レナもメロン味は好きだよ。でもやっぱりイチゴ味だよね。よね。
ケイちゃん、確かに私も選ぶならメロンにするよ。だけどね、これは連想ゲームだよ。かき氷って言ったらまず人はイチゴでしょ。
Why are some things censored when it comes to localization? Well, there's all sorts of reasons it can be censored. The one that specifically you could probably bypass by releasing a game as in Japan only, but has English that you can import, would be the ESRB. So if you're trying to market the game to a certain demographic in the West, and I believe this was the case for, like, let's say you wanted to make sure your game was E for everyone. Because in Japan, their rating system deemed it that age group as well. Well, then there could be something that triggers the ESRB to bump it up to teen rating in the US, but it was fine in Japan because of slightly different changing standards. So you would find that them forcing the game back down to be E for everyone would mean, like, I don't know, covering up cleavage or whatever satisfies the ESRB in that situation. You know what I mean? I'm still not entirely convinced, but in any case, it's this type of game.
理科のは何て書いてありますの？それかき氷ですの？ 宇治金時です。たまらない美味しさなのですよ。
Well, it might be delicious, sure, but it's not exactly run-of-the-mill. Still, that's a pretty refined choice.
さとこ、これで大体わかったかな。いちごって書いた人は仲間が3人いるから3点獲得。この調子で点を競っていくわけ。
わかりましたわ。それよりミオさん、
Yes, ESRB rating is only in US and Canada, which means you could wind up with censorship for the PEGI rating system as well. That's the only other one I know. The ESRB is not going away anytime soon. And I don't necessarily think the ESRB is to blame. I think really what it should be is that... I guess the only time the ESRB's decision really should matter is when it becomes a matter of, what do they call it, like, AO, or adults-only games, because adults-only games can only be sold in, they can't be sold in standard retail, or a lot of retailers refuse to carry them. And, I guess if you get M-rated games, too, so if there was something that was teen in Japan, but got bumped to an adult, a mature in the West, that would mean fewer people could buy their stuff because you're assuming they would need their parents' supervision in order to purchase the game. Didn't really stop kids like that, but yeah. Gonna stream the anniversary? I don't even know what there would be to stream.
今日の罰ゲームは何にしますですの？はあ、やっぱりあるんだね。何かな？何かな？
何にしようかね。ケイちゃん、何か提案ある？
え、罰ゲーム？そうだな。小学校の頃、罰ゲームってのがあったら。
Castoria rolls. I might. It would be a very, very short stream, but if you guys wanted it anyway, that's fine.
やっぱりあれだよな。そう、荷物持ちだ。
Schlepping.
つまり負けた人が全員の荷物を持たされて運ぶってやつでしょ。男子がよくやってるね。全身ランドセルだらけにして歩いてる小学生よく見るし。
でもどうするの？さとこちゃんとリカちゃんのお家は私たちとは逆方向だよ。
じゃあ1位の荷物をビリが家まで運んであげるでいいんじゃない？
You gotta visit everyone's house.
全員の荷物の宅配だと結構いい距離になっちゃうしね。
あ、うん。それくらいならいいかもね。なんだか今日の罰ゲームは簡単ですわね。この程度の罰ゲームではケイチさんにやらせても面白くありませんわ。
じゃあもうちょっとレベルアップしようかね。
You're right. You can sell AO normally, but a lot of people don't. So realistically, it's kind of a death knell if you get thrown into that category and you weren't aiming for it.
ただ荷物運びをするだけじゃなく
Schlepping something around is like dragging it along, carrying it around. Oh, you're schlepping around that luggage all day, that kind of thing. Of course you could access the games. AO only means 18 up, usually.
これを着て荷物運びをしてもらうというのはどうかな。
なぜにメイド服？
Because the maids would bring your luggage.
いいけど、そんなの嫌。でもケイチさんが負けた場合はどうしますの？ケイチさんに着れるサイズがなければ。
そこは抜かりないよ。ケイちゃん用にちゃんと XL サイズも用意してあるもんね。
XL maid outfit? Oh, shouldn't it?
さあケイちゃん、覚悟はいい？メイドコスさせて外を練り歩かせてあげるよ。
Isn't it like a Jewish term, like schlepping?
カチューシャからそりゃもう何から何まで全部揃ってるんだからね。
絶対変だ。なんでそんなものがサイズごとに全部ロッカーに入ってるんだよ。
Most horror movies are AO. No, they're not. Most horror movies are rated R. You can get away with a lot more violence in a movie than you can with nudity and stuff like that. Like actual intercourse on screen or something like that. If you're in that situation, then you'd wind up with the film rating NC-17, which again, a lot of film theaters do not show NC-17 films. This is bad, Keiichi Maibata. Somehow it's become a situation where only my failure results in an overly cruel price to pay. What if I make a mistake and lose? I'd be able to walk around in broad daylight and... you wouldn't anymore. Once again, these frickin' games. Oh, ma'am, about that Maibata boy. Did you hear about him? It seems like he has a penchant for cross-dressing. Oh my, really? That'd be so embarrassing, you know. Oh! This is just incredibly brutal. If you're to return this penalty to some semblance of normalcy, now is the only time. Everybody, I think we should refrain from this unwholesome penalty game. Why on the way back from school? Do we have to be accompanied by a girl wearing a maid uniform and carrying our baggage? Having them say master while dragging them around the village in such an embarrassing outfit? Wait, why am I panting? What is this? This feeling welling up inside me.
ねえ、やっぱり普通の荷物持ちにしようよ。ほら、ケイチ君も固まっちゃってるし。
Boom! Burning with passion, I firmly placed my hands on Reina's shoulders.
罰ゲームが何かが問題じゃない。勝てばいいのさ。そうだろう、みんな。
I turned to everybody with an idiotic grin, my pearly whites flashing with a brilliant gleam. Horror video games are mostly M for mature.
どんな罰ゲームでも恐れない。勝てばいいんだから。だよな、みんな。
It's some of the only games I know that would get something like an adult-only rating would be either games like, probably if people tried to translate any of the hentai games and stuff like that, or games like Postal and Postal 2, that kind of shit. Maybe Japanese will not have to go through the West with visual novel, we could just import them. Well, yeah, that's what happens. A lot of, like, Manga Gamer and DL Site and other things offer the ability to purchase these adult Japanese products without having to go through a middleman. So, yeah. Or J-List, they do that too.
Hey! Hey!
From Mion to Rika, everybody energetically thrust their fists up high. Only Reina seemed somewhat undecided, standing there looking flustered. She's a little bit slow, isn't she? If she wins, even for Reina, it's quite a delectable opportunity.
おいおいレナ、これかなりのビッグチャンスだぜ。メイド服のリカちゃんはサトコをお持ち帰りできる史上最強のチャンスなんだぞ。
Sploosh. Reina began spouting a fountain of blood from her nose. God, it's always the blood thing. The look in her eyes completely changed. She shifted into cute mode. I was waiting for this, Reina. The look in her eyes.
お持ち帰り。別にケイチ君でもミーちゃんでもいいんだよ。
よし、全員覚悟は決まったね。じゃあメモの用意。第1問。いくよ。
Mion opened her textbook to a random page and read out a word that caught her eye.
まず最初のお題目は夏休み。
Beach, umi, probably. Or mizugi, that would be the other one. This is yet another quite abstract keyword. Play Asia for Japanese games? Well, They're good if you want to buy a game physically, or import it physically, sure. But yeah, if the game doesn't have English, there's not much you can do about it. But sometimes there are those websites that have translated visual novels on them. But yeah, I'm getting Maho Tsukai no Yoru from PlayAsia. I trust them. They're also one of the better sites to buy PlayStation points or eSwitch Nintendo Shop points so that you can buy the digital versions. Because you can buy pretty much anything from Japan on modern consoles. You just have to, you can't use a US credit card. So that's how you do it. You use PlayAsia, use your credit card to purchase the points, then take those points and put them in there. The only thing that you can't do with that is something like the Tsukihime remake, because Tsukihime remake has Zero Zero, which is like the highest rating for a game for consoles in Japan, probably thanks to bloody arcade bits, and the violence is just shot up to such a high degree that in order to get your hands on Tsukihime, you would have to either buy it physically through PlayAsia or have a Japanese credit card, because you can't do that. They don't let you use prepaid points. And I think it's them and their way of proving that you're 18. Have you seen that the translation of Case Files stops partway through the Rail Zeppelin arc? No. But thankfully, since Rail Zeppelin has been adapted into anime, we should still be able to cover that. On Me on Signal, everybody simultaneously held up what they wrote. Let's see, what did everyone write? Festivals? I guess that makes sense for you guys. You don't have a beach nearby.
レナと私が同じ答えだね。よっしゃ、2点獲得。で
も、さとこちゃんの花火ってのもいいよね。
Zero does have a higher rating? Or there is a higher rating than Zero? Well, fine. What is it?
リカちゃんの蚊取り線香ってのも季語みたいでとってもいいと思うよ。どの答えも実に涼やかなのです。
夏休みまでもうすぐだね。今年の夏はどうやって過ごすかな。
Have you played Galgun Returns? Didn't I play Galgun something trigger or double trigger? I don't remember. I did that on like a New Year's playthrough, and that's the only Galgun I've played. So, there's your answer there. Well, no, like I said, you cannot buy on PlayStation or Switch digitally a game that is Zero Z or higher, because they don't let you use the prepaid points. You have to have a Japanese credit card to prove that you are old enough to do it at that point. You cannot use an American credit card or wherever you're from. So that's the one time you're screwed. And at that point, you better hope they have a physical version you can buy instead. Clones of... Just out of curiosity, how many clones of Gray are there in Case Files aside from Gray? Gray is Gray. There should only be one. That I'm aware of. Invigorating words that invoke the image of summer break. Certainly things that enrich the soul. As everybody approaches the soon-to-come summer break, a plethora of dreams should be etched upon their thoughts.
ところでケイチさんの答えは何ですの？早く見せなさいでございますわ。
俺のは大した答えじゃ。
ダメダメ。見せるのがルールなんだから。ほらほら。
やめろよ。見るな。
He wrote Mizugi, didn't he? Homework? Homework? Pansy. The room went silent. Nobody could really follow up that response. It's as if my impertinent answer had somehow sullied the wonderful dreams of the coming summer break.
ケイチ君の夏休みって楽しくなかったんだね。大丈夫ですよ。
I don't know if I'd call them clones, though.
圭一を一人ぼっちにはしませんですよ。
Just separate attempts to create a reformed version or a proper vessel for resurrecting King Arthur. Rika-chan gently petted my head. What exactly did summer break mean to me? Summer courses, observing sunflowers, practice exams, special summer-focused seminars. I know nothing of hot summers, because I've always been in an air-conditioned cram school. The tears, they... Oh, so he's been sadly repressed.
灰色だったんだね。
そんな哀れみの目で俺を見るんじゃね
This game called Sympathy may be more terrifying than I could ever imagine.
まあとにかく私とレナは2点獲得ね。続けていくよ。次は
Sakana.
魚。
So it's fish! Come to think of it, I haven't eaten sushi in a while. Sushi is a good answer. I would maybe say sushi, otherwise I'd probably say tuna. Tuna. How do you like the new Melty Blood game? A lot. Aren't they announcing more DLC characters for it? I heard there are going to be more, but I don't think they've announced which characters they'd be. And if they did announce that, I'd be seeing footage and people, like, gushing over it. Well, luckily for you guys, this upcoming Friday, the 8th, is going to be my video on Case Files, my first one. I'm doing one for each of the volumes. Red Snapper! By the way, rather than lean tuna, I'm quite the connoisseur on things like flounder. I wonder who will match with this answer. Because for a Japanese person, anyone would think of this.
じゃあ
What is
いい
it,
かみんな
mackerel?
今度は俺から公開するぜ。一斉のせ。
Sushi. How about that for an answer? When you see a lively fish, do you want to steam it or grill it? No. To have fresh sashimi is the epitome of cuisine. Rather than write sashimi, however, I'll choose the more amiable term in sushi. That's my cunning ploy. But contrary to the intrepid resolve of my reply, everybody's expression was listless.
そうだよね。お魚って、お寿司は美味しいもんね。
Nanaya and Ryogi are the supposed next characters. I hope Ryogi, but I don't know until I see it. Well, what did they choose?
そんな道場っぽく言うな。
じゃあ残る全員も公開するよ。いっせーの。イルカ。
Dolphin? Well, aquarium. 2 aquariums?
リカと同じ答えです
Wow.
わね。2点獲得ですわ。
レナはクジラか。私も考えたんだけどね。イルカにしちゃった。
I mean, those are big fish.
ああ、そうだったの？レナは最初イルカって書いたんだけど、誰も書かないかな。どちらもとっても可愛いのですよ。
Everybody, excluding me, stopped and stared blankly as their thoughts drifted over the horizon. It seems as if they can hear the roar of the open sea from over there.
これで全員2点獲得ですわね。ケイチさん以外。ケイチ君の答え0点だけど、レナはとっても独創的で面白いと思うな。
魚と聞いて真っ先に食用に走るとは。ケイちゃん、心の貧しさを恥じた方がいいよ。
No, you eat fish.
心が貧しいとか言
Of
う
course you think fish.
大体
Like food
日本と
fish.
レナの答えはなんだよ。魚類じゃないぞそれ。哺乳類だし。
Oh yeah, good point. Dolphins are a little out there.
全会一致で却下。次の問題いくよ。
What a horrid game this is today. As the games pile on and on, it seems as if I will be further exposed as a petty human being. I'm the only one who still hasn't earned any points. I want to at least get a point in the next round.
さて次のお題目は桜。
Spring, I guess? Spring. Spring or graduation. Those are the two things I think of for Sakura. Damn it. This time I'll do it. Keep your cool, Keiichi Maibara. Don't think what you would normally think. Everybody else here is a girl. Stop thinking like a man. If you write down Sakura Mochi, you'll only be repeating the tragedies of the past. Throw away that gastrointestinal male sensibility. Just for now, think of yourself as a girl. Ara ara. You're a girl. I am a girl.
みんな書けたかな。いくよ。
ケイイチさん、今度くらい得点できないとやばいではございませんの。
This time it's perfect. I've completely suppressed my own instincts. This time I will have a match. No, I will make it match.
ケイイチくん、今度は自信たっぷりだね。レナね、今度はケイイチくんと会うようにね、男の子の身になって考えたんだよ。えへへ、桜餅。
Oof.
僕も大好きな
Oh.
のです。炊きましたですよ。
Oof. Uh-oh. If you're not getting Uminoko, what about trying the 2D fighting one out? You mean the Higurashi fighting thing?
ボロになってクリ
Maybe.
ップを出すんじゃね
ではケイイチさんは私と同じではございませんこと？
Hanami.
お花見ですのよ。
Huh.
そうだよね。桜って言ったらお花見しかないでしょ。私も書いたよ。
Mion, and Satoko's response was Hanami. Hanami? Seriously?
お花見なんて酒盛りして地帯を晒す親父イベントの定番だろうが。なんで今頃になってあっさり女の子な答えを放棄するんだよ。
じゃあ何ケイちゃん。あんたどんな女の子の答えを書いたわけよ。
なんでもないよ。次行こう、次。あ、
Before I knew it, Rika-chan had circled behind me and was intently reading the memo I had written that I had hidden behind my back.
口紅って書いてありますです。
Cardcaptor Sakura? Well, that's cute. That's cute. This is a good show. This is a good show. It became dead quiet. The abrupt silence enveloped the room. It would be fine if somebody at least laughed at me or played it off as something dumb, but nobody even flinched. The feeling in the pit of my stomach reached critical mass, causing my once blood-drained face to flush with a sudden wave of heat.
さ
Sakura can only mean Cardcaptor Sakura, can't it? It's a super popular anime that's broadcast every week on the government-run networks. It's broken through every demographic from little girls to grown men. You've seen it, haven't you? No, you've definitely seen it. Even I've seen it.
いや、そんな力説しなくてもよく知ってるよ。
It's that thingy where she fights in a different costume every week, right?
うん、知ってる知ってる。
Yep, yep. It's cute, isn't it? This is interesting. So, notice that the voice acting is not here for all of this, and the reason for that being is because there are differences between the original console release and the original PC release, and then the console release that came afterward. The console release was the version that had voice acting, and they took out certain bits of dialogue along the way. So whenever you run into dialogue like this that has no voice acting, it means it's the original version being patched back in for extra content. Yep, yep. It's cute, isn't it? Rana sometimes browses through it at the magazine stand just to keep up with the story. I saw it for the first time recently. Sakura is cool and so cheerful all the time. I wonder if they chopped it out of fear of, copyright bullshit. I like that girl who's always filming with the camcorder. It's not just popular with little girls, it's also surprisingly well received by older boys, isn't it? To think that Kei-chan was one of those. It felt like I had inadvertently blurted out something unnecessary and had completely self-destructed, but that wasn't the main problem. So you all know it, don't you? Then why didn't you write it down? Sakura means Sakura Kinomoto. Sakura-tan. Card Captor Sakura is the right answer! Mian quietly put her hand on my shoulder.
ケイちゃん、今確信したわ。ケイちゃんは骨の髄まで親父なんだよ。強制不能なくらい。
なんでみんなそんな同情的な目で見るんだ。
そんなことないよ。
He knows how the game goes. He's just really stupid. He tried to pick something girly, and I guess that's what the first thing he thought of.
さあ頑張ろう。ここから大逆転だよ。親父な圭一さんに逆転などありえませんわ。おとなしく今日の罰ゲームをおくらいなさいませ。
What was today's penalty game again?
メイドさん衣装、カチューシャ、ニーソックス付きで1位の人の荷物を運ぶのですよ。
我が部の部員ならこの絶対不利を覆してごらん。さあさあ続けていくよ。
Because gacha games are the easiest way to make a shit ton of money and exploit fan bases. Honestly, that's what it is. Why make money making a product when you can make a product that constantly shoots out more money? Or that keeps raking in more with every individual character you release.
圭一くんが嬉しそうだよ。なんでだろう。
きっと女装の喜びに目覚めちゃったんだよ。
あ、圭一くん、カチューシャ落ちそうだよ。直してあげるね。
Reina cheerfully adjusted the hairband that had been enshrined upon my head.
どうよケイちゃん。本物の女の子の前で女の子の格好をする快感に目覚めたりとかした？正直に言ってごらん。大丈夫。笑ったりしないから。
うわー、てめえぶっ殺す。
Swinging Mion's bag about wildly, I chased her in circles for a bit. Today's loser was quickly decided to be me. When I had been assured of finishing last, Mion showed her true power. She began racking up points with an iron fist. In the end, we didn't even have to add up the score to know who was on top. After that, in the changing room, with much wailing and gnashing of teeth, pushing the boundaries of shame and brutality, I was instructed by Mion on how to put everything from ribbons to underwear. Damn you, Mion. What do you mean, knowing this will come in handy one day? Well, maybe you'll be good at taking the clothes off someday.
ケイちゃん声大きい声大きい。黙ってりゃ演劇のお稽古くらいでごまかせるんだから。
You're gonna spank the shit out of Keiichi ass cheeks for being a goddamn moron.
大騒ぎしたら、個性的な趣味の人だって勘ぐられちゃうよ。
I shuddered from head to toe, resisting the urge to scream.
でもケイちゃんってさ、お肌のキメ細かいよね。お化粧のノリがいいってよく言われない？
Saying that, Mion gently rubbed my cheek. What kind of man gets praised for being so easy to apply makeup on them?
メイドさんのカチューシャをつけた感想はどう？これぞまさに画量転生。カチューシャこそがメイド衣装の真骨頂だもんね。
何が画量転生だ。バカこら。いじるな。
圭一くん照れてる。かいい。
そうそう。男の人ってフリフリとかって好きなんだよね。どうよ。それを
No, garter belts aren't that great.
感想なんて別にバカやめろ。めくるな。
キュッとするでしょ。歩くたびに足元スースーするの。ちゃんと感じてる。
Stop! Don't whisper such strange things in my ear! Ow! My miserable manhood suddenly shifted.
赤くなってる赤くなってる。やっと気づいたかな。
How is Mordred a copy of Artoria despite being her son? Because she is a homunculus. That's the way that Morgan had created her with the seed she stole from Artoria's temporary Futanari situation.
そう。今ケイちゃんは成人男子垂涎のメイドさんそのものなんだよ。
Stop it, Mion! Really, why do you have to whisper that right in my ear?
メイドさんをギューって抱きしめたいって思ったことない？ケイちゃんは今ね、そのメイドさんと一体化してるの。わかる？それはね、肌を重ねるよりもずっと近い距離。
FGO Gacha is what's stopping Nasu from making Tsukihime 2 and a new Witch on the Holy Night visual novel. And did you know that Witch on the Holy Night was supposed to have 3 visual novels? I heard something like that.
息吹や鼓動が聞こえてこない？
みーちゃん、それって。
On the verge of overheating, a long red line followed out of Rena's nose.
ちゃんとお化粧してケイちゃん好みのストレートロングのカツラかぶせて、ケイちゃんの理想をそのままの美少女にコーディネートしてあげるよ。そしたらさ、私と一緒に街を歩こうよ。きっと男たちの視線を独り占め。それはきっととても気持ちのいいことだよ。これである一部分を除けば本物の女の子なのにな。
Saying that, she tries to flip my skirt. Ah! This is definitely not the time! I can't let them see me with this male-centric problem! Crash thud. Before I realized it, Rena was caressing my head and rubbing me with her cheek.
もじもじしてるケイチくん、すごく可愛かったよ。お持ち帰り。
Sweet home Alabama. Dun, 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 dun. You know, that just gave me an idea. I'm gonna write something down. If I do not remember it, it will be bad. I must write it down very quickly. I'm always needing new ideas. Okay, thank you for that. Peering through Rena's vice-like embrace, I saw Mion laying spread eagle on her back. I see. They must be what Satoko and Rika-chan feel like when they become Rena's prey. After that, it took quite some time to call Rena down from her frenzy.
じゃあね、ケイちゃん。今日は最高に楽しかったわ。
覚えてろ、ミヨン。
Oboitero.
今日の屈辱はきっと10倍にして返す。絶対に俺が圧勝してこれ以上にすごい服着せてお持ち帰りしてやる。
If Tsukihime got a game with playable elements, yeah, that would be cool. I'd play it.
おじさんに勝てたらね。その機会を楽しみにしてるわ。
Mion tossed me my clothes, and looking in a good mood as I've ever seen her, left. Okay, now.
ミオンから解放された今、俺は1分1秒でも早く家に逃げ帰る必要がある。
そうだね。レナはみーちゃんみたいに上手じゃないから、誰かとすれ違ってもフォローしてあげられないからね。
Soon after that, I went into full-out dash. Pretty sure I was running the 100-meter in about 6 seconds there.
じゃあね、ケイチくん。また明日ね。
おう、また明日な。
The fact that I didn't bump into anybody I knew is probably divine favor for my constant good behavior. It's been going my way today. That's a huge house Keiichi lives in, Jesus. I just realized that. At the moment, the front door opened as if somebody was waiting for me.
おお、ケイイチ、帰ったか。お父さんはこれから散歩。
I was dumbstruck by how slow my father was to react. A normal person would have realized the peculiar scene before them around. Oh, Keiichi.
父さん、これはほら、いつも話してる部活の罰ゲームなんだよ。
Your phone is gonna die? Gotcha.
今日はたまたま。
Have a wonderful day as well, Caitlin P. See you later, Connor. It was an oddly moist and uncomfortably warm hand.
ケイイチ、父さんとアトリエでちょっとお話ししような。母さんに内緒でだ。
やだよ、父さん、話してよ。俺、今から見たいテレビが。
Mion, you shall rule this day. His artistic flame raging like wildfire, my dad dragged me along. I disappeared into the depths of the studio. That's weird. The hell is that noise?
ケイイチいる？あら、お風呂だったのね。それ化粧水よ。
いや、それより何？
ごめんね、母さんちょっと頭が痛くてお夕飯作れそうにないの。だから申し訳ないんだけど、お父さんと一緒に表に。
Finally, the scene I've been waiting all this stream to play is finally showing up. My mom is a go-get-em superwoman at work, but it occasionally takes a toll on her health. So this kind of situation is hardly a rarity.
それはいいけど、母さんは晩飯はどうするの？
母さん一人なら適当になんとかするから。いってらっしゃい。
ケイイチ、車で行くから早くしなさい。
What if Tsukihime was an RPG? Yeah, be fun. Oh, that's thunder. That's hardcore. Wow. Dad quickly got the car ready. He must be hungry. He only really moves so energetically when it's time to eat.
お待たせ。で、どこに食べに行くの？
お父さんな、この間いいお店見つけたんだよ。そこ行こうか。
My dad usually only complains about things. For him to actually praise something is unexpected. I wonder what kind of place it is that he'd rank at 3 stars. As one who seeks the way of the gourmand, I, Keiichi Maibara, am genuinely intrigued. The headlights of the car cut through the early darkness of the Hinamizawan night, carving a straight path towards town. I was pondering where such a gem of a restaurant could be hidden away. It was shockingly the family restaurant right by the station.
父さんの言ういい店ってここ？
The words Angel Mort were written on a very family restaurant-esque cartoonish logo. It had the air of a girl-oriented all-you-can-eat cake buffet rather than a proper restaurant.
ケイイチは入ったことないだろう。
Come to think of it, I hadn't. There's been some times where I've traveled to faraway towns to eat, but returning only as far as Okinomiya Station, there was really no reason to dine out. Home was just a stone's throw away, after all. I see. That was the reason I never noticed it before. We stopped the car in the restaurant's parking lot. It seems like business is booming. There's quite a few cars parked there. But what really amazes me are the license plates. There's a lot of them that can't be from this area. Fukuyama, Nagoya, well that's fine. Chiba? Saitama? Opening up my mental geography book, I calculated how long it would take to travel here, given, via the major highways.
ケイチもどうやらこの店の凄みに気づいたようだな。
Would have Garden of Sinners got an RPG? Yeah, I'll take an RPG of all of it.
どういうこと？
Easily.
この店に来るためにこんなに遠方から人が来るってこと？
Following my dad, I climbed the steps and entered the building. The bell attached to the door clattered as we entered, and a waitress soon greeted us. After confirming our party size and whether we wanted smoking or non-smoking, she guided us inside. Dad ordered 2 of the daily specials. It seemed that they were ready-made, so there wasn't much of a wait until all of our meals were brought to us. The taste was, no offense to Dad, not so different from your run-of-the-mill family restaurant. What's wrong with that?
味だけで言えば普通のファミレスに見える。
味なんかはどうでもいいんだケイチ。なあ、いいだろう。
I see. It may just be that the food here might not be nothing more than average. The demographic of the customers is pretty much all young men. It may call itself a family restaurant, but there wasn't a single table with a family. And yet it was packed. The parking lot was filled with cars from all corners of the country. If they didn't come far and wide to eat this completely mediocre food, then there's really only one reason for, then there's only one other reason. Dad flagged down a nearby waitress.
すみません。セットのデザートがまだ来ないんですけど。
申し訳ございません。
日替わり A セットのデザートです。さっきからずーっと待ってるんですけどね。
すみません。すぐにお持ちしますので。
The apparently rookie waitress rushed off flustered.
父さん、ひょっとしてこの店って？
いいだろう。ここのウェイトレスさんの制服。
Your dad is a married man checking out the waitresses. Except Adi-chan and I wouldn't mind going up to see like a Hooters or something. Not for the food, of course. But she can appreciate a beautiful woman as much as I do.
父さんにも殴られたことないのに。
俺は息子だ。
いいかケイチ。父さんは決して不埒なつもりで来ているんじゃないんだぞ。あのグッドでキュートでエキセントリックな衣装から受けるインプレッションを。芸術的インスピレーションをお前に感じさせてやりたかったんだよ。お前だってこういう刺激を求めていたはずだ。そうだろう。でも一人じゃ恥ずかしい。分かってる。だから父さんが無理やり連れてきたんだ。父さんのせいにしていいんだぞ。父さんが泥をかぶったとしても圭一にはこの気持ちを分かって欲しかったんだ。ああ、トイレ行ってくる。
My father has always had a bad habit of trying to hide his embarrassment using incomprehensible nonsense as a smokescreen. I want to believe that this weirdness won't be genetic. Continuing his one-sided rambling, my father stood up and headed to the washroom. With him gone, I was left alone in the booth. Finally, at this time, a feeling of embarrassment welled up inside me. I had nothing to do but go beet red with shame. The waitress from before returned, her eyes alternating between the order slip and the table. Arriving at my seat, she hesitantly tried to say something. A more veteran waitress offered some advice from over her shoulder. Just calm down and say sorry for the wait.
大変お待たせして申し訳ありませんでした。
Right, just like that. Do your best. Whispering that into her ear, the veteran waitress left. The waitresses must have been, this waitress must have just been hired. With an absolute lack of confidence, she moved hesitantly and maybe even somewhat perilously, just watching her put me on edge. I silently watched as she placed the dessert on the table with an inexperienced hand. But it's just as Dad said. What incredible uniforms these are. They were like a bunny girl plus a maid plus some sort of frilly outfit, all in a perfect ratio. Most certainly a rather dubiously charming kind of fashion. In any case, she in no way appeared to be a proper waitress. I'm more of like the Hooters aesthetic personally. Maybe not even that, but just sort of like the short shorts and the tight tank top. That's for me. Have I ever been to a maid cafe? Yes, I have. I went to one in Akihabara. They're kind of a ripoff, to be honest. It's a silly gimmick where, you know, they do cutesy little things with you while you're eating and teach you how to do the moe moe kyun spell and stuff on like your Gohan and shit like that. It was cute, but it was expensive. It's more of a novelty than anything else. You wouldn't go there if you wanted like a real good meal. It was fun. Just, you could see it for the exploitation it really is. What should I do? I was catching glimpses of too many things. That is, I didn't know where I should look. Wearing something like that, walking around the restaurant, it's as bad as it can be for digestion. Even though she was wearing that outfit, this particular waitress had no idea what to do either. This flustered state, without a doubt, should be attributed to the amount of bare skin showing rather than being new to the job. Both the waitress and I mutually avoided eye contact. Whoops. Sorry. Mutually avoided eye contact. What a platonically embarrassing feeling this is. I'm a customer, you know. It's alright to be more straightforward. Oh, my nose is starting to bleed. At that moment, our eyes just happened to meet. Both of us blinked, doubting who we were even looking at. What? This is...
Mion だよな。
On top of her hair being let down, she was so far removed from her usual confidence-filled attitude, I didn't realize it was her at all. It was Mion! Why is she here?
お前、なんでこんなとこで働いてるんだよ。
おじさんのお店の手伝い。
Come to think of it, I did hear her talk about her relatives have stores in town, and that she sometimes works part-time here to help them.
おお、それはご苦労さんなことで。
The nervous feeling I had dissipated in an instant. Knowing that this was Mion, there was no reason to feel that way. Well, actually, my animal instinct tells me that the power balance between Mion and myself has been turned upside down. That's right, I'm a customer. My position is superior to hers. The humiliation from today's penalty game was cutting through the recesses of my mind. There really is a god. For him to grant me this opportunity for revenge. Noticing the flames of vengeance burning in my eyes, Mion took a step back.
しかし、こうして見ると、結構そういう服も似合ってるじゃねえの。
恥ずかしいんだからあまり見ないでよ。
Like, I feel more passion out of watching an e-girl than I do with, like, a maid cafe or whatever. Maybe because it's just, you know, it's pretend. That doesn't mean they don't care about customer service, but it just means, like, it's part of their job to be like, oh, you know, you're the master, or you're so cool, and having that kind of play attitude it's just there. Yeah, we did go to that maid cafe, but we weren't allowed to film it, you see, because when you're going to a maid cafe, you pay separately just to get, like, a photo of them. So the odds of them, like, letting you just go in and film for free, that ain't gonna happen. Nope. I confirmed my preemptive strike was a clean hit. There's no mistaking that Mion is currently defenseless. Oh, we know what that's like, don't we? While confirming my attack was successful, I simultaneously lined up the combo.
ミオンって結構胸があるから、今にも見えちゃいそうだよな。お客さんみんな見てるぞ、きっと。
そんなこと言わないでよ。
What is your favorite fast food place and your favorite pizza place? Gosh, I don't know if I have a favorite fast food place. I usually just pick whatever I'm feeling. That's kind of the whole point, is that none of them are all that good, I guess. Like, I don't hate McDonald's. It's not good for you, but I don't hate it. Favorite pizza place? I've got to say, I go there not for the pizza, but Little Caesars, because I love their crazy bread. Otherwise, maybe Blackjack. Blackjack pizza's pretty good too.
恥ずかしがったふりしてもダメだからな。ミオンはそういう恥ずかしい衣装で男の目を引いて楽しんでんだろ。じゃなきゃそんな格好できないもんな。
私だって好きでこんなしてるわけじゃ。
Is this alright, Keiichi Maibata? Aren't you taking this a little too far? Even if it's payback for that humiliation during the day, isn't this too much? Hey, shut up, Logic. To pay back Mion tenfold is a chance you'll hardly ever get.
こんな恥ずかしい格好してお母さんは悲しんでるぞ。その見えそうで見えないのが最高だよな。もっとチコを寄れ。
堪忍して。
お客様への奉仕の心がまだまだでやわたるぞよ。
Keiichi, this is not the right attitude to have. The more lewd you make it out to be, the more degenerate you act, the less likely you're ever gonna get a woman to wear that for you. Just saying.
どうかお許しを。
Artoria was going to have a child with Guinevere, with her magic futa, as a matter of politicalness. I don't know if she's ever had a preference toward or against having a kid. She literally did everything in her life as her duty to be king. That was it. So if it wasn't part of being a king, she didn't care for it.
あうお持ち帰り。
You like Pizza Hut, huh? It's classic. Entering a version of Rena's cute mode, blood spewing from my nose like a waterfall, I was going until I had no regrets. I was going to complete this verbal humiliation revenge for today's events.
これくらいで今日は許してやろう。はう。
I do understand that in this visual novel, the context behind Keiichi being such a perv to Mion, quote unquote, is because, you know, obviously he suffered humiliation just prior, and he's trying to get revenge from brutal people. So I get that. I get that a lot. I don't think the anime conveyed this nearly as well. I don't remember him having to dress up as a maid in the anime. I think they skipped over that. Which adds some pretty decent context to his debauchery here. It seems that Mion's neutral circuits had completely shorted from the embarrassment. I might have teased her a little too much, or so I thought. But such a meek Mion is something you hardly ever see. So this was good for now. I might have teased her a little too much, or so I thought. But seeing such a... Wait, damn it. Leaving that aside was... leaving aside what exactly was good. Gotcha.
しかし知らなかったな。天下御免のミオンがウェイトレスは苦手なんてな。
違う。
でも意外な一面だよな。昼間のミオンに見せてやりたいよ。っていうかレナたちにも見せてやりたいな。レナなんかきっと狂乱して喜ぶぞ。あいつこの店で働きたいとか言い出すんじゃないかな。
違うんです。
俺もミオンにこんな可愛い服装が似合うなんて夢にも思わなかったぜ。
だから違うんです。
While turning bright red, Mion finally spit out the words that were lodged in her throat.
違うって何がだよ。
私ミオンじゃないんです。
What? I was taken aback at Mion's confusing words.
ミオンじゃないって。じゃあお前は誰だよ。園崎ミオンだろ。
ごめんなさい。言いそびれちゃってたんですけど、私園崎シオンなんです。姉がミオンなんですよ。
My eyes unconsciously widened with surprise from this brazenly crazy talk. Mion, probably thinking that there was no way such a far-fetched excuse would work, turned bright red while fidgeting nervously.
シオン？園崎シオン？
はい。よくお姉に間違われるんです。
でも俺に会った時初対面とは思えない反応を示したよな。
それはいつもお姉が話してる人だから知ってたわけで。
A little bit of a cringe-worthy excuse, that is. But when I looked at Mion's eyes, which begged me to believe her, the urge to tease completely subsided. To us, Mion had been a leader who was normally overflowing with confidence, a guiding force. If I were to lash out at that Mion, I would have ruined something I shouldn't have. That was something I would never wish for. So I understand. This foolishness here is something very different from the everyday Mion. That's why she's Shion.
そっか。
Favorite fried chicken place? I guess Popeyes. Popeyes is good when they actually have stuff in stock.
だったら悪かったな。
I have no interest in spicy chicken.
分かってくれればいいんです。お姉も敵の多い人ですから。
Well now, she's self-aware of that fact now, is she? As I unintentionally laughed aloud, Mion, no, Shion, laughed with me.
シオンはこういう仕事初めてなのか？慣れてなさそうだったからさ。
実は今日がケイちゃんが初めてのお客さんなの。
A little flustered after saying that, she quickly asked if it was okay for her to refer to me the same way her sister did. Seeing that blatant quirk was so cute, I couldn't stop
お
laughing.
じさんの店でバイトしてるってのは前に聞いてたからさ。
Yeah, the anime does a very bad job conveying the dynamic between Mion and Shion, because it rushes and cuts certain parts out that help make this relationship a lot clearer. I don't know what the hell the war scissors? I don't really care. I think the scissors were just more of a gimmick. I don't care if it's a sword or whatnot, but actually attacking someone with a pair of scissors isn't that cool looking. It's more like holding the individual scissor was cool. Yeah, what a crappy first customer, you're right.
もっと手慣れてるものだと思ってたぜ。
お店持ってる親類って他にもいるの。だからこのお店のおじさんの手伝いをするのは初めてで。
I see. Makes sense. Anybody would be tentative doing a job they weren't used to.
ミオンはこの店手伝いに来ないのか？
お姉ってほら、こういう可愛いの苦手なんで。
I know what she's trying to say.
そうだな。ミオンってかっこいい系の方が似合うやつだもんな。だからこの店の手伝いはシオンちゃんが来て正解だったと思うぜ。
Huh? Shion asks, probably thinking she misheard me.
その制服、ミオンなんかには絶対に似合わないと思うけど、シオンちゃんにはよく似合ってると思うしさ。
それって
Shion, like Rena often does, spaced out and turned bright red.
どういう意味なのかな。
At least for this moment, it felt like Shion's character actually existed. Because there was no way that the Mion I knew had this side to her. At that moment, we realized the more veteran waitress was waving at us from across the room.
園崎さん、R 入っちゃっていいですよ。はい。
Yes, scissor people make sense for horror. like a, what is it, clock tower? Mion finally returned to her senses. It seemed as if it was time for her to take her break.
じゃあ私はこれで噂のケイちゃんと話せて楽しかったです。
ミオンと勘違いしていじめて悪かったな。ミオンには改めて復讐すると伝えておいてくれ。
あ、メイドの格好をさせられて表を歩かせられたんですよね。
That devilish laugh and smile. It was exactly the same as the one I knew.
そうだ。たっぷり書かされた恥はきっとお返しすると伝えておいてくれ。
Roll a natural 20.
それより私、今日いじめられたことお姉にチクりますから。お姉に部活で仇を取られちゃってくださいね。
上等だぜ。返り討ちにしてやら。
Mion laughed with a warm smile devoid of any remaining nervousness and disappeared into the back. So she only had one customer, and now she's already on break. That's weird. Do I like Chile? Like the country? I can't say. I don't know. I've never been there. I felt like I had a very valuable experience today. If you're talking about like Chile, the food, I don't know if you're just spelling it differently. That's right. For now, I know the high and mighty Mion has a weak point to panic and get embarrassed about. But of all things, for her to say she has a twin sister. I thought that maybe I should ask Rena tomorrow if she really has a sister. But maybe it's better if I didn't ask. It's a bit mean-spirited. I've decided that the person I met here today was Shion, the younger twin sister, so I'll refrain from doing anything that would deny that. It's not that we actually made a promise or anything, but that little exchange gave birth to a new rule between me and Mion. Somebody tapped me on the shoulder. It was my dad. That was a long trip to the washroom. He probably came up with a new idea for an art piece when it was sitting on the can, or when he was sitting on the can.
Keiichi, そろそろいいか?
The food. Chili. Yeah, chili can be really good. I like chili dogs like Sonic, too.
帰ろう.
Settling the bill, my father had his customer card stamped. It was pretty much filled. Damn, Dad, you're quite the regular customer.
さっきの新米ウェイトレスさんはケイイチの知り合いか?
なんだ、物陰から見てたのかよ。
Dad had the oddest sense of tact sometimes, or has it.
この子かい? ひなみ沢の?
うん。俺の友達のミオンってやつの妹なんだよ。学校はひなみ沢じゃなくて町野に通ってるみたいだね。学校じゃ会ったことないから。へ
え。ひなみ沢の子ってみんなケイイチと同じ学校に通ってるわけじゃないのか?
半分くらいらしいよ。半分の生徒は町の学校まではるばる自転車で登校してるんだってさ。
In this way, the feeling that I was really talking to Shion came to me. What should I say to Mion tomorrow? I met your little sister? Something like that? Even with Mion being like that, us having a secret between the two of us made me a little happy and a little embarrassed. Top 3 candies. Oh, man. Charleston Chews. I love those. Three Musketeers. Those are great. Maybe Twizzlers? I can't say. You know... Yeah. Well, cool. That's exactly where I wanted to get to today. Finally introduce Shion Sonozaki. And with that, I'm going to call it quits for today. I've still got a lot of stuff to catch up on, so I hope you all understand. Thank you all for tuning in. Definitely subscribe for more OtakuDaiKun goodness. Like I said, we got the first El Malloy Case Files video coming out on Friday. And Censorship Apologist Bingo for Tuesday. It's another one of those more anti-censorship kind of things. And yeah, until next time, celebrate your fandom.